Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Joey O and
Satya.
The crypto queen herself is in the building. What's going on, Satya?
I'm good. How are you, Joe?
I'm good. What you got going on for us today? I know you got a nice lesson and everything. So how's everything been?
It's been good. I've just been relaxing, for these past couple weeks. But today we are getting into a crazy lesson. We are going to get into dynamic share sizing. So, So should we just get into it?
Yeah, you know what? We're gonna go over some of these top performing sectors. It is a little bit of a bleeder today, and then we're gonna jump right into the lesson. So, guys, you know we like to do the win place show when it comes to the top performing sectors here, guys. It is a little bit of a tough one so far on the session as the market is starting to pull back. So be wary of that, guys, and don't try to pick any bottoms with a falling knife on this one because it is a little bit of a bleeder. We have the overall sectors, it's weak. We don't have too many in the green here, folks, but we are getting a little bit defensive. So in first place, we have the utilities, Satya, up a whopping 0.3% on the session. Not very much now, is it? Then we got consumer staples in second place, up about 0.17% on the day. And then healthcare in third place, up about 0.04, not even 0.1%. Yes. So it seems like a little bit of a weak one. What do you think?
It looks hella weak. I'm looking at that, and that grid is just all red.
It's all red. It's red across the board. There's some blood in the streets. But yeah, you got the lesson too, so let's jump right in.
For sure, awesome. So yeah, I wanted to talk about dynamic share sizing. So when people start trading and learning about risk management, it is often believed that taking the same size for every trade is, sorry, there's something going on with my screen. 1 second here. So I'm going to put it off to you, and I'll be right back.
No problem. You know what? I never did roll call, so we're going to jump back, and we're going to do some roll call. I'm going to scroll up a little bit here and say what up to everybody. So what's up? Frank Handy, Fernanda Villa, Denver Trades, Alvin Johnson, Sean Higgins, Stephen Howard. Oh, that's my family's name, Higgins. Way to go. Nice on that one. Marvin, Ronnie Rodriguez, Roaring Pity. Good to see you in the chat, as usual. Vin, what's going on? Bear versus Bulls. Good to see you back. Glad to have you back in the chat there, my guy. Patrick G as well, too. Then we got the Mighty Men of Valor. Okay, loving that one. Ike Release. Paul, what's going on, my friend? I know you like Walmart as well, too. You're always going on about Walmart. So let's see how the staples hold up today. Piper, what's going on, everybody? Bebot 5000. Nephew with Capital, always in the chat. Good to see you there. ADL. Our buddy across the pond, what's going on? Adam DeLuce, the big one. Luis Lugo, Smooth. FX Options, love it. Let's go. Jose Gonzalez, what's going on, everybody? And Vivid Distortion. Hey, we like that one. We like Vivid Distortion. And everything's rolling over there.
Yeah, everything's good to go. I'm just going to shout out a couple of people. Shout out RVRSL. Shout out Rubicon. Howdy to you guys. So sorry about that. But going back in to the lesson. So when people start trading and learning about risk management, it is often believed that taking the same size for every trade is the key to maintaining and growing an account due to having very defined risk amounts. However, I would argue that having uniform risk for every trade is stunting your growth and P&L as a trader. So don't get me wrong, it's great to have a predefined risk, right? But these percentages help you from losing more than you intended to. And I find that a lot of people, they tend to go with the risk levels of 1 to 2% of their account's capital per trade. However, the problem with this is there's an implicit expectation that you will be right the majority of the time, which is not always a good mentality to have when trading. Losses are inevitable when trading, and crazy enough, you can still be profitable as a trader with 30 to 40% win rate as long as your profits outweigh your losses. So today, we are going to get into the importance of dynamic share sizing. So just making sure that you're not, executing the same trade size every single time that you trade, and then also going into tools that will help with adding size to your position. So we're going to get into that. So the cons of using the same share size for every trade is it increases the likelihood of overtrading due to being insatiable with small profits. This is something that I really struggled with on the floor before because I'm a scalper and a lot of the time I'm catching those small moves, but I didn't have a lot of size for for the real meat of the move, right? And so that was something that was really bad and something that I really wanted to work on, and which is why it's a topic today. And then also too, the more decisions you make, the more likely you are to be wrong. I feel like that's kind of self-explanatory. So you can kind of limit yourself when doing that. So do not increase the frequency of your trades, increase the size for high profitable trades. So a person who initially invested $100 and made 10%, so $10, is the same as a person who invested $1,000 and made $100 with that same 10%. These two traders could have entered and exited their position exactly at the same price. However, the difference between the two traders is one recognizes when they have the importance, the importance of capturing opportunities when they're present in the market, while the other trader may believe there is an abundance of opportunities in the market than there actually are. So that is something that is kind of, it sucks, but it's something that we can work on. So scrolled a little bit off. So a trader who has a success of hitting 9 out of 10 trades consistently, but only makes $20 of profit by the end of those 10 trades is not necessarily better than a dynamic size trader who loses 6 out of 10 trades but makes $100 of profit from the 4 out of 10 profitable trades that they made. So win rate is very important, and we should not deny that consistency is key in trading. However, we should think of trading kind of like a game of poker, right? So imagine a poker player and is betting the same on every hand. You would never stand a chance because in poker, most of the hands you get are not going to win you the hand. That same goes for trading. When you're trading the same size every time, this means you have to be right more often. It sounds self-explanatory, but being right once or twice is easier than being right 10 times in a row. Adding size makes up for a lot of mistakes. When you skew high probability trades, you make up significantly for the paper cuts you make on the other trades that you made. So singles can only get you so far in day trading because of opportunities available in the market, and as well as the liquidity. Sometimes that liquidity dries up. And so you just want to make sure that you're hitting those home runs on those bigger trades. So you need to make those big bets count so you do not have to look for multiple opportunities. So I like to do it using my share size based on criteria. So rather than just using that same 2% of my account size, I would say a trader who uses the same size every time hints to the fact that they are not aware or able to differentiate which setups in their playbook have edge. So rather than just having that, I have a type A, type B, type C, and these can be dependent on different types of criteria like volume thresholds, news catalyst, time of day, and so we can do it based off of that. So another thing that we have is you could rank your trades. So type A could be a day 2 earnings at 10 a.m., 10x RVOL. I'm going to use 200 shares when I see this type of setup. My type B setup could be an X dividend day. It has 7x RVOL at 10 a.m. Then I'll use 100 shares. My type C would be day 1 earnings, 20x RVOL, 10 a.m. Then I'll use 50 shares. And then type D, which is kind of like a lower probability trade, is no catalyst. Maybe I see 5x RVOL before 10 a.m. It's not necessarily in my playbook, but I still want to take a stab at it. I'm just going to go in with a lower amount of shares and use 20. So that is something that we could use. And then something that I like to use as a tool for dynamic and adding size gradually is a weighted average calculator. This is not anything new, but it's something that can be very useful. So a lot of the time I use the data value to put in what the price action is. So let's just say I want to get in at $20 and then I have 10 shares. And then let's just say the stock goes up to $22 and then I want to add more. So actually, let's just make this, let's say I go in with 50 shares. And I want to make sure I'm not messing up my average, but still trying to get into the trade. So let's say I want to add an extra 20 shares at $22. Then my average price would be $20.57. And so a lot of the time I'll play around with those weight, which is supposed to be my share size, and then the data value to kind of see where I could get the best price and the best average. And so that's my lesson of the day today. Anything for you, Joe?
No, I'm just here just looking at Fabian. No, that's fantastic lesson, Satea. And you know what? I totally agree with you. As you gain a little more experience in trading, we need to learn how to exponentially bet size our winning trades, I think. So yeah, so that's an example, a perfect example of just classifying your trades in different categories. And then when you have those higher quality setups, you want to size up on those and continue to push in order to become a little more profitable. All right, guys. So that's perfect stuff. Rich Buddy, absolutely send that super chat anytime, my friend. We're here all afternoon until 2 o'clock. It's Tete and I. We're here willing to answer any questions that you guys got thrown at us. But Tommy McDonald in the chat, you said you're from Innisville, Ontario, or what? I grew up in Bradford. Let me know. Interesting stuff that you pointed that out in the chat. But guys, yeah, as you can see here, I'm in some IBIT. I decided to add a little bit as we continue to move higher. We sold extremely heavy, so what I'm aiming to look for here is this exhaustive volume. So hopefully this is a potential pivotal moment in IBIT. We turn around and can continue to move to the northeast because we do know that the market was selling off extremely aggressively. So we got to keep an eye out for that because the sentiment is a little bit weak. But Riot is totally recovering. A miner, which is trading really nice, going to go and test the highs of days. But as of right now, we have a $20 super chat. Rich Buddy, absolutely. Thank you for that one. Much appreciated. Hi, Joe. I'm concerned about the drones as a black swan event. How would you ensure a $1.3 million portfolio until this event passes? It's all Tesla and NVIDIA. Thank you. Let's say we want to guard against a 50% market crash. Okay, you're concerned about the drones as a black swan event. Okay, that's extremely interesting. I'm not too sure if you're referring to kind of the combat drones, etc. But if you have that size in your portfolio, you can start to sell some covered calls if you do want to protect that downside. But if you also don't want to short any options, you can buy some puts, okay? So that can help you protect that downside as well. So this will just mitigate the losses. Buying the puts will be a little bit more efficient, but selling those calls will help you collect some premium to that downside momentum if you do think that there's going to be a little bit of a retracement in the near future. Mind you, if you want to sell those out-the-money calls, just sell them at a strike price that you're comfortable with, that your shares will not get assigned, okay? So just keep that in mind, Rich Buddy. That's a beautiful size portfolio say you got going on there. But just remember, you have multiple options. You can buy outright puts, which will cost you an additional debit, right? So it's going to cost you a little bit more money. Or you can have cash inflows put into your account by selling some premiums. And if you really want to hold on to those shares and not allow those to get assigned, sell those far out the money. And if you tell me some average prices you got, I can pull up my options chain and say, hey, yeah, this is a little bit safer. And what is your time period? We can do weekly, monthlies, etc. So feel free. You don't need to do what you just did. Just message me in the chat, and I will do my best to give you the best advice I can, right? So again, that's a hefty portfolio. Really, really nice moves there from you. But to protect that downside, you have multiple options. You can buy puts, which costs you a little bit more, maybe a little bit on the safer side if you're not comfortable with writing options, all right, guys? So keep that in mind. Yeah, so let's see what everybody's got going on here. Yeah, it'll bring your cost basis down is right. Rivian Millionaire, you are not wrong on that front at all, my friend. But let's see what IBIT is up to. It's a weak session today. It's super weak. Apple is still tanking. NVDA is still moving to the downside, I believe, as well, too. So not looking, yeah, wow, it's not looking pretty for the semis here at all, Sate. What do you got going on there? Oh, okay, you're still, we'll figure that out here for, in a second. But yeah, I mean, hey, listen, NVDA, I think it's still continuing to rain on the parade, unfortunately. So with this, it carries so much weight that it's going to drag the overall markets down with it. And that seems to be the case so far, all right? So just keep in mind, you don't want to catch any form of falling knife with NVDA so far right now, just because of the overall sentiment. And I wanted to point this out as well, too, on the SPY, is that, look at this. I don't like this type of overhang. So are we in a little bit of toppy action? Possibly. I know a lot of the traders and some of us on the side are talking about this, thinking, like, what's going on with this? Have we hit a potential top? But this is totally healthy. We do have some relative support levels here that if we breach those, then we can see some potential more downside. But as of right now, we're hanging on tight to that 603 on the SPY. Let's see if we can continue to hold this. Maybe we form a little bit of a consolidation range and then continue that choppiness. And then maybe we can take a second leg higher. All right, guys? So keep that in mind. It is a red one, Friday the 13th.
No, it's granted.
It's bloody. You can't ask for anything more, I guess.
No, I'm looking at this NVIDIA trade right now, and you guys know me. I love NVIDIA, but she's just looking nasty right now. Like, it's that 130, that 139, that 140, I feel like has been a significant level for a couple of days, Joe. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, but like yesterday, it hit that 140.20, or sorry, not yesterday, but on Wednesday, it hit that 140.20, and then again, and in the pre-market, hit 139.90, and then we're just coming down. And honestly, it looks like it wants to recover, but I still think it just hits the 9 EMA and then possibly continues down. I'm looking on the 3-minute. If we go here on the hourly, a bust stop level that I'm looking at is around 131.81. So that looks like it could possibly come in here. I feel like it really needs to break this 133.76 for a potential little bit of a recovery there, but right now, not looking too great as well. Like, that looks horrible. Something else that I was looking at was Walmart. Let's see what Walmart is doing. I've been looking at it for a couple of days here just because of the talks with the tariffs and everything like that. I thought that it may affect the retail sector as well. And so it looks like here we had this wick at 9:30 and then not too much volume going on as of right now, but I'm looking at a break of 94.53 for a potential continuation of the long here, just because I like the fact that it's holding that VWAP level. It's kind of holding tight to that pre-market, but hopefully we do see some volume later on today. And then gonna take a look at the QQQs, still bleeding, same as the SPY, kind of looking the same as the NVIDIA chart. So it's not looking great. I am looking, let's see what you guys are looking at. AMD long off the lows. Let's see what
AMD.
What do you call it? Advanced money destroyer?
Yeah, advanced money destroyer. Right, it's been living up to the name, no doubt about it.
Yeah, that looks the same as like the QQQs, NVIDIA. That's insane. The semis are looking pretty nasty right now. So I would say, I don't know, as a long, I'm not a person to time the lows, to be honest. I don't know if you're better at that, but I feel like me attempting at these prices, I would kind of like keep taking a stab at it without really knowing where to risk off of. So I wouldn't say that it's not ripe yet for the long, I would say. I would say maybe wait for a little bit of a break at that 127.37, see what it does at that 9 EMA level, and if we can break that, and then also break VWAP around 128, that would look a little bit better for me, but looking pretty bearish. How about you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I like how you pointed out, it's like, the lows isn't something that you like to pick off, but I did this here on IBIT, but I like what you pointed out on Walmart, because I'm seeing something identical on Walmart compared to IBIT. So if I seen this earlier, I would have been like, thanks, Satya, for pointing this out. But you pointed this out perfectly. But you see that bottoming tail candle with that large volume?
Yeah.
So to me, this is kind of like an exhaustive signal for me, right? So I like to see the identical situation going on with Walmart as that we've seen in IBIT. So as you've seen, we had that massive sell-off and then that exhaustive volume sitting in and then that hammer-style candle being printed. So I'm like, that can give me an indication that maybe we are ready to turn around in price. So I really like that you pointed out that in Walmart, because I love Walmart. I would love to get into Walmart for the long term, right?
Do you like it as a day trading stock, though?
No, it's not the best intraday trader, in my opinion, but from a long-term perspective, you can't go wrong with it.
No, you can't. No, Walmart, I feel like that is one business that's not really going to go out of style within like 5 years.
No,
it's going to be there.
It's America's darling. America loves Walmart, no?
No, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
When you think about America, you think about Walmart and pajamas.
Yeah, exactly. So Walmart is exactly that. I think America loves Walmart. So again, from a staples standpoint, that's one of the companies. And we did have Costco's earnings last night as well, too, which was absolutely phenomenal. So that is still trading higher, I believe, as well, guys. So keep in mind. But one thing I want to point out here, Satay, and I was going to ask you because I heard before that you have more Ethereum than you do Bitcoin.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And sure enough, that trade's been working out fantastic for you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
For sure. So I actually did get a little bit nervous with Ethereum when Bitcoin hit 100,000. But it looks what is different about Ethereum in this trade is the fact that when you're using the Ethereum blockchain, you need the ETH for gas fees. So a lot of the time, if you're in something like Doge, you need, even though you're holding Dogecoin, it's on the Ethereum blockchain. And so to even send it from one wallet to another, you're always going to need that Ethereum. And so Ethereum is always going to be needed because it is just part of the blockchain. It's how you transfer the asset from one wallet to another. And so despite Bitcoin kind of tanking right now from that 100, let's see, haven't looked at it today, but let's see what it's doing as of right now. Okay, so it's right at that 100,000, but when I was looking at it a couple of days ago, and when it went to around 90,000, I was just like, oh, we really need to hold above this level. But it went to 92, and then it's wicked up, and it looks pretty strong as of right now. But with Ethereum, I think that it still has room to go to the upside. And so I'm still waiting for another break of that $4,000 mark. And if we can get that, I think that Ethereum's going to 6,000. I think that we can get there pretty comfortably. A lot of people say, what about the psychological level? What about 10,000? I think that that might be a little bit too much to ask for as of right now, just because it's the end of the year. We already had that Trump pump. I feel like that kind of brought everything up. And so I think about the market also psychologically. It's the holidays. A lot of people are starting to take profits. They're going on vacation. And so I think about things like that. So I think that by the end of the year, we might die off a little bit. But I think 6,000 coming into 2025 around February, March is definitely in play. So that is what I think about Ethereum. If we look on the higher time frame on the 6 month, the all-time high was 4,858. 4,869, around there. And so look at it from a higher time frame. Like on this 6 month slope, we broke through this level, 2,452. That was in July. And then we're just like highly trending up. It did hit this 9 EMA level around 2,274 within the last 6 months. But notice how it just got to that level and then it wicked up here. And I think obviously the all-time high is going to be a resistance level, but I feel like it won't be for long. I don't feel like it's just going to get to this level and then wick down. I feel like we have a little bit of a retracement. Maybe we get up there and then we go back to 4,000 again, but then we really need to hold that 4,000, and I feel like if we hold that 4,000, 6,000 is inevitable.
I like that, yeah, 6,000 being the next target. And I mean, I'm just looking at here at Ethereum myself as well, too, up a whopping 65% at the high from that breakout range from that 2,600 level. So congratulations to you. That's a nice one. So it's working good.
I got in at 1,800, so still holding strong.
Hey, still holding strong. Diamond hands over here. So yeah, no, congratulations on that trade. That is wicked. And is that, okay, yeah, we briefly, I think it looks like we touched past the all-time highs there. Is that a genuine wick there? Did you see this, Satya, this wick that I'm looking at here? Was that genuine? Did you see that price action in real time, or you don't know?
When was that?
I think it was the 5th of December. So that's a really big wick there.
I didn't see that. No.
Yeah. So maybe it's not, but it might be genuine. I think it might be. So, and then it sold off heavily. I think it might be associated with that Bitcoin day as well too. Yeah, it is. So yeah, I think that is a genuine move. So it did touch all-time highs there. Really good look there. But Rich, buddy, so I pulled up the options chain for you. And what I did was just something simplistic. And I noticed that you said in the chat that you're not too familiar with executing orders on options, but just from an NVDA standpoint, because you mentioned that. So if you just want to buy the at-the-money put right now for some short-term duration, 70 days is the expiration cycle, you're looking to pay about just under $1,000 on that. So $9.30 from an option standpoint just to protect that downside. So you need to ask yourself, are you willing to pay that if NVIDIA isn't going to continue to depreciate, okay, over the next 70 days? Now, I'm going to go far out of the money for you, okay? And I'm going to select the 10 delta put and see what you can collect in 70 days from that standpoint, okay? So let me pull it up here real quick for you. And it is around, so you wouldn't collect that much, only about $1.15 on that one. So you really have to think about which one is better for you. Again, you would receive less premium. It costs significantly less, right? It's a credit, but then if you really want to protect that downside for the next 70 days, then it's going to cost you a little bit under $1,000 bucks. But as of right now, we are off to Adara, folks.
Keep an eye here on some of these social media related tickers, namely Meta and Snapchat. I also have Google and Apple up here. Basically, what I'm seeing here, apparently a letter is circulating with key House lawmakers warning Apple and Google they must be ready to remove TikTok from their app stores on January 19th. In case you missed it, January 19th is the day that basically TikTok will be banned unless there's other action taken. So keep an eye on META and SNAP. We know they can move on news regarding the progression of that TikTok banner embargo. So watch out for some of these social media tickers, as well as QOOGL and AAPL. None of them are reacting too much, though, as of right now. Back to you guys.
Yes. Bang. Is that you?
No, that wasn't even me, man. That was insane.
I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah, no. I like to give Adara that at the end of all of her stuff. Yeah, because she likes the big Law and Order.
No, thank you for that.
Yeah,
Another thing randomly I wanted to touch upon, since we were talking about Ethereum, is actually MATIC here. So
MATIC
Polygon,
token.
I don't know if you've heard of Polygon MATIC. It's kind of something that helps with, let's see here, no. MATIC.
MATIC token. I know they're always talking about MATIC token on CNBC when I listen to him, Polygon and MATIC token.
Yeah. So it's supposed to be like an extension of the Ethereum blockchain to help with transaction to make sure that they're faster. And so I find that if you miss the Ethereum move, I feel like MATIC is kind of a next one to be looking at. I actually got in. I got a little bit a little bit early. I got in at 70 cents here, and so it dipped to around 50 cents. But what I like about this is the fact that if we look on a higher time frame here, if we look on the weekly, even though it is kind of on a downward slope from here, what I'm looking at here is the fact that it hit these lows here around 32, and then it's around the $60 mark. So it's already done about 100%, within a couple of weeks here. And so I like the look of that, but I'm really looking at the break of this level, $1.16. And so it is a little bit far off, but I still feel like getting in here, just accumulating can be, a good play for the next bull run, because Ethereum's going, Bitcoin's going, and if Bitcoin hits, 110, 150, I think that, MATIC will have some life and continue forward as well. And so I think that, if you're looking for something where you really want to get in early, because I got in early with Ethereum too, and I feel like, sometimes it's harder to get in later on in the move, but if you want to catch kind of the bottom of the move, I feel like this is good as well because it's near those lows, and I feel like there is less downside risk there. Yeah,
no, beautiful stuff there. So I'm going to ask you this: I know you like cryptocurrencies, so are you favoring more of the alternative coins, so like altcoins compared to Bitcoin and whatever that may be? Because I know you're familiar with the altcoins. I'm not too much. I bought a little bit of Doge back in the day.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And that was it from an alternative standpoint. That's all I really invested in, and some Shiba, because you can get the millions of coins too, right?
Yeah.
But again, there's an infinite supply on that front. So it was fun. I know some people that made some decent money on that one. But again, do you prefer some of the alternative coins over Bitcoin?
Yeah, when I was doing research on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies as a whole, I think it was around 20 or 30,000 when I was looking at it. And I've said this before, but I wanted just a full cryptocurrency. I didn't want kind of just a fraction of one. Yeah, right, because I wanted to capture the whole move. And so I don't necessarily all the time like altcoins, just because I feel like sometimes they're hard to read. But I feel like with confluence of Bitcoin moving 100,000, they always follow Bitcoin because it's the same asset, right? And so I find that it makes more sense for me to kind of get in the altcoins, at least in this bull run or this season, because we already have Bitcoin moving, and so the other ones should follow suit as well. So I feel like it makes more sense to kind of load up on coins where you can get a lot. You can get 100, 200, 300 coins. And then if it's moving in the same percentage, maybe not necessarily in the same way, but the same percentage or more, I feel like it makes more sense. You
give a little bit more of it. I like that look. I looked at it, and I guess with the new administration coming in as well too, it is bullish for cryptocurrencies. So yeah, I really like that look as well too. So maybe I'll have to take a little bit more of a deeper gander into some of these altcoins there, guys. Yeah, continue to let us know in the chat. Satya, we started last week a new poll, so we are now collecting a sample set as a collective unit here going long or short SPY. So we're going to set that up shortly as well, too, to see. We're on a little bit of a tough streak as a collective unit here, Satea. So we're not doing too good. So as you can see, we're collecting our data. Now coming back to about roughly break even, up a whopping three whole paper dollars there as a unit. So it's been a tough stretch, guys. So let's hopefully we can get back on the right track and continue to log some of these trades. But yeah, guys, here, I wanted to point this out. Considering we are talking about some cryptocurrencies and encrypted currencies, Riot, Adara had some news on this. I'm pretty sure they added some more Bitcoin as well too. So this is yeah, they did. So this is trading higher. Going to test some of these previous pre-market highs, yesterday's pre-market high on that front, and then now breaking the high a day as well today with that momentum stepping in, pushing through VWAP and that volume stepping in as well too, guys. So that's something really to keep an eye out. Is that volume supporting your thesis or is it not? Okay, so that can give us some more reason to take those trades. But slowly starting to recover on the SPY, curling over after this immense selling all the way down to almost 603, 603.04 was the low, and now pulling back. That volume is dwindling on the SPY as well too, so keep in mind this can just be a potential pullback. Let's see if we can test the volume weighted average price and then reassess what the overall markets may do from that standpoint, because we do know that NVDA just continuously raining on the parade. I haven't been putting too much of my time into watching these semis. I mentioned this countless times before, guys. There's other things that we can be watching other than some. Unless you're a bear, then that's fantastic. NVIDIA is probably working out really, really well for you. But I am going to be keeping my eyes off that. We have Broadcom putting in an early, really good session through those opening drives in the first half hour of the day, really strong, trading up all the way up to a high of 221 plus, so just under $222 on AVGO. So that was a really good look on that one. But guys, we are starting to slowly crawl higher on Bitcoin. So I think I'm going to take a little bit off the top. We do have a price target of the volume weighted average price. So we'll just take a little bit off there, guys, lock in some gains, and then see if we can go and press that 57.30 level. But guys, yeah, continue to let us know. AMD, everybody likes AMD, Satea, the advanced money destroyer. It's a crowd favorite. So let's see what this one is up to. Breaking some key support levels. I mentioned, once we broke this key level here, Satea, around 127, I'm like, is there going to be some more potential downside here? And do we come and test this pivot? Like, we're back at some 23 level, or like late 23 levels.
Yeah.
So it's been a tough ride for AMD, no doubt.
No, that honestly, I feel like that is a key. Like, I wouldn't necessarily get involved there because I feel like I want to see what it actually does at that level, to be honest. Yeah, you were looking at like 123, you said, right?
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
Let's see here. Like, let's see what I'm seeing here. Let's delete those. Yeah, I'm seeing the same type of thing. I feel like rather than getting involved here, because it does look like it wants to bounce a little bit on the day, and we kind of can get faked out on this Friday here, but I think that just waiting maybe a couple of days, maybe waiting until Monday or Tuesday of next week to see if we bounce off of that level, or if we just break through it, I think is better for an entry rather than kind of just seeing if it gets to that level. And so I feel like that's how I would play this AMD trade. What else are you guys looking at? Someone saying, I hate AMD, long AMD. I mean, like I said, I think it's still a little bit too early to long her, to be honest. I mean, it is getting to that VWAP level, which I feel like can be a play that I'm looking at as of right now, but I don't want to see it wick at that 127.75 level. But it looks pretty decent as of right now. What time is it? 11:34. And so I can see a little bit like of a turn action here, and I like the fact that it's trailing that 9 EMA, but I still want to see that break and hold of that VWAP level. I think that's very significant. And then where I'd really want to get involved and I'd be more secure in this long is around 130. Yes, you're kind of losing out on that $4, but I feel like, I don't know, that's just my type of playbook trade. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna avoid the semis for now because it's inflicted some pain.
Fair.
And it's like I just went over some data, and it's like if I'm not trading it well, there's no reason for me to continue to trade something.
Right.
Especially when we have a lot of other things in play, right? So it's like, okay, if you're not in sync with that stock, then why are you gonna try to force it? And as I like to say, why am I gonna milk a stone, right? Especially yeah, exactly. So if it's not working out for me, then I mean, I think eventually it will come back in play, right? I mean, and fair enough. NVIDIA been on this monster run for the past couple of years, so a little bit of breathing is totally healthy, I think, for this stock. So I'm not going to complain about that. It will be back in play eventually at some time. But I want to just kind of build on what my intraday thesis was on Bitcoin and why I decided to trade IBIT. I know you guys say that I traded a lot, but it's in play, so I have to. It doesn't matter. It could be anything. But what I was looking at here is we had this really big engulfing day here, Satea, and then we had a little bit of a breath on this candle here. So I was looking for somewhat to form an ABCD pattern or a 3-bar play with momentum on the latest day, this candle here, pushing us past that $102,000 mark. But as of right now, it has not been the case. But it's slowly starting to recover. As you can see, IBIT from an intraday standpoint is starting to pull back through VWAP and has recovered most of those losses from that selling. Still only up about 0.3% on the day. So keep that in mind. Can we go and test the higher days? I don't know. I think that's going to be a little bit of a tough one on the session. So let's see. Only time can tell on that front, guys. So we'll continue to monitor those ones and see what Bitcoin is up to. Someone asked me to put on the goggles. I'm sorry, I can't put on the goggles.
We already got the goggles.
Yeah, we already got the goggles on. Yeah, exactly. And I only put the goggles on when I'm in goggles, like Google itself. So yeah,
fair,
right.
Fair. That makes sense.
It totally makes sense there. Rich Buddy, Bitcoin. There's a cup and handle on the monthly. I think it's going to go parabolic. Unfortunately for me, I agree with you there, Rich Buddy. One thing I'm a little bit surprised about is how long this consolidative phase has been lasting. I thought because we were consolidating for a better part of like a couple months that this move would be extended a little bit longer, but that hasn't been the case. This is a total healthy breath. We did move up quite a bit, 20, 30% almost at that fact. So I think that if we continue to consolidate here, Satea, that we can make another additional move like that, and then we can maybe hit those $120,000 price targets. What do you think?
I think that's definitely possible, but I feel like if you are waiting for those moves, you should definitely have your, crypto on an exchange ready to kind of execute that order, because a lot of the time I feel like people have it in their wallet, and then once it hits 120, 130,000, let's say, then they want to transfer the coins. And when we're looking at, these chart patterns and we're looking at these wicks, we have to remind ourselves that they're there for probably a second, an instant, a minute, and so they're not going to stay there forever. It might just wick it and then come down. And so you really have to be ready to take that liquidity when it does come in. So I would say that if those are the prices you're waiting for, definitely set an alert, have your crypto ready, make sure that you have all the fees for whatever blockchain that you're using, and so you can make that transfer to your exchange. So I think that is very important there. But I still think, I feel like that breakout 102, we definitely can see 110, 120 and go from there. But I would say it's going to happen very quickly. So just be aware of that. One thing that I was looking at, though, going back to equities, is Costco. And so this was very interesting. Why I was looking at it was because it was on my trending ticker list. So a lot of the time, I like to look at these trending tickers. I like to see what's in play. I like to see if my setup is, setting up here. And so what I really like is the fact that it hit this 990 mark. It held VWAP. So it just wicked it there. And then it's holding this VWAP level really strong. So as we can see here around this 992.84 mark, it's just holding. And then it's kind of going up. It's trailing this 9 EMA on the 3-minute, and we're looking to break around this level, this $1,000 mark. And notice we're at a psychological level. So I really want to see how it reacts at this level. Are we really? So it got to this 1,000 and 1,375, and it got a little bit up there, and we're crossing that $1,000 mark. But I really want to make sure that it's holding around that 995. So for the continuation of the long, so that looks really decent as well. But if it could hold that 1,000, I'm still convicted in this trade, even though it had the strong, move up from 972. I still think that the momentum may be there if we can hold that $1,000 level. But we do have a super chat. I don't know if you shouted it out, but Willis Addison, a round of vegan beer on me. SWNG AVGO 200 and 205 calls into earnings up over 1,000% after selling at 9:46 a.m. Humble and hungry. My day is over. Shout out to you, Willis Addison. He's talking about options. So do you have any outlook on that?
Yeah, let me see. Is that on this? Is that on the super chat? Okay,
exactly.
we're gonna come back to the super chat right after we get back from Adara.
We can go for earnings quickly. We also have some breaking news. Keep an eye on IEP. Apparently, there's some circulations here that Bill Ackman is short this company. We also have WBA on watch, seeing some things circulate here from Sky News. Apparently, Sycamore is arranging debt funding for its deal to buy Walgreens. We had Wall Street Journal reporting a couple days ago here that Sycamore Partners is looking to buy the company. Now, apparently, they've lined up $10 billion in financing for that WBA deal. So watch out for WBA as well as IEP with those catalysts. Now we're going to talk about some earnings written down here, including Broadcom. Broadcom, to be fair, just fair warning, the tape on this is pretty violent right now. There's a bit of a range here between that 215 and just shy of 217 level, but definitely be cautious of this one. They did announce an earnings beat here, EPS beat here, but actually a sales miss. They reported 14.05 billion versus 14.091 billion expected. However, this is a significant increase, though, above last year's number, which came in at $9.295 billion. So this reaction could just have to do with the fact that we had about a $5 billion increase on a year-over-year basis. Their Q1 revenue guidance was a little weak, 14.6 billion versus 14.612 billion expected. So more or less in line, but a little bit below estimates. They also increased their dividend by 11%. And it's worth noting here, they had a record fiscal revenue for the fiscal year. So 44% increase to 51.6 billion. And their AI revenue grew by 220% year over year to reach 12.2 billion. For context, they actually said earlier their goal was 10 billion in AI revenue for the year. So great look for AVGO. What about Costco here? Costco, we got wholesale numbers here of 3.82 for earnings per share. That is a beat. Sales also a beat here for COST. It's worth noting here as well, we had, I guess, a good look here for the company. Their earnings results included a $100 million tax benefit. Net sales up 7.5% year over year. Comparable sales up in all of the regions, including their e-commerce sales. It's also worth noting the CEO, Ron Vacker, has had a couple fun, I guess, metrics of his own. Apparently, their pharmacy business grew 19%. Here, it's worth noting, apparently 1 million deliveries were completed in Q1, and their bakery division reached new records of 4.2 million pies being sold there in the 3 days prior to Thanksgiving. So CEO Ron Vackris with some fun metrics. Earnings are next week. It's going to be really light the first few days, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're going to get a whole slew of earnings. After the bell on Wednesday, we're going to be getting Micron and Lennar. Thursday morning, we'll get Accenture and Darden Restaurants. Then Thursday after the bell, we'll get Nike, FedEx, and BlackBerry, completed with CCL, Carnival, reporting earnings before the bell on Friday. So that's an action-packed earnings week in the last 3 days. Back to you guys.
Hey, guys, the poll is up. It's going to be me on the afternoon rundown, not Sharif today. It's going to be your boy Joey O. So make sure you get those votes in the chat. Did you vote for something yet, or?
I did. I voted for the Q.
Oh, the Qs. Oh, it was. I diverted. You know what? I said, let's see what the overall index is. Okay. But we also have AVGO up there, as well as Bitcoin. So IBIT, the ETF, the BlackRock ETF, seeing record inflows. So guys, get those votes in. Make sure you vote, and then we'll take it from there, and we'll see what we're going to talk about on the afternoon rundown. But as of right now, Satya, what do you got going on for everybody?
Yeah, I don't typically trade this, but GME is moving. This is insane. This looks insane. It was on my trending ticker list. I was just flicking through it. And so it had this wick here at, around 11 a.m., which is really distinct because it was right at 11. And then we just break through VWAP very distinctly, which is very interesting. And so I think that it's really struggling with this 2869 level. But if I do see a break of that, I think I'd want to get involved. This looks very interesting. This is the level that I really want to see more volume coming in here. I like the fact that it broke through that VWAP. Just look at that strong 3-minute candle. It went from 28.35 to 28.55. So that is pretty significant. 20 cents in 3 minutes is pretty wild there. And so yeah, we are rejecting off that 28.70, but I still think that it's holding strong. And look like how this candle is looking like it wants to close above. And so that looks really interesting. And I think that something I want to keep note of. If we look here on the higher time frame, let's see here on GME. Yeah, this is really distinct as well. If I'm looking on the weekly here, I can see that it's trailing that 9 EMA very distinctly. It wicked here around 27.10, got down there, and then it's holding up pretty strong as well. Another level that I'd be looking at is if we zoom in here, I'm looking at around this opening price here around 29.05, and so I really want to see it get above there and hold above there. So that looks really interesting. And then also too around this 29.69 level, this was a local high here on Monday, July 15th, and so I think that looks really decent as well. How about you, Joe?
Yeah, you know what? Everything you meant, like Walmart and GameStop, I always have to take a look after and see what's really going on because I like that other perspective as well too, right? So that's a really good look, Satya. As of right now, it reported the other day. So hey, let's see what can go on. Meme crazy. If Roaring Kitty decides to tweet, and we never know when he's going to tweet. True. Anything can happen with GameStop. So if that volume decides it wants to step in, I know there's a lot of people expecting that and want this to continue to go higher and possibly reach that $65 mark. And I think this was the day where I know Obi and Neil were talking about this, was when he put on that stream and he didn't say anything for the first 30 seconds and his arm was in a cast and it was absolutely hectic. We didn't know what was going on. I thought my screen was frozen for a little while because he didn't do or say anything, and he was late to the dance as well too, Satya, I'm pretty sure on that one. So hey, let's see what GameStop can get going. But NVIDIA still crawling lower and lower, potentially going to go and test those lows of days. This is raining on the parade. And I'm going to say it over and over again. I think that NVIDIA has been raining on the parade because we know that we have been making all-time highs on some other stocks. Today, like Tesla hit all-time highs the other day. Meta, Amazon, Google, Apple, everybody was making all-time highs. And NVIDIA has been just kind of chopping around in a range. So we got to keep our eye out on NVIDIA and Jensen Huang because I think we should be continuing to crawl a little bit higher on that front. And I was looking at some small caps as well too.
Sure, he's rubbing off on you?
Yeah, he's the gappers, man, because he's got everything roaring. He's punching keys and things are flying 100+%. So it's like, hey, you want to get in on some of that fun, you know what I mean, right? So we have to keep an eye out on that. But guys, we're going to come back and talk a little bit more stocks right after we get back from Madeira.
We're just going to, hi Fabian there, we're just going to watch out here for Amazon as we do have the union, apparently Teamsters, announcing they voted to authorize strikes at 2 New York Amazon warehouses, as reported by the union itself. So this is actually a story that was floating around a little bit a few weeks ago, so we knew this was a possibility, but it looks like now these strikes at Amazon warehouses in New York have been authorized by Teamsters. Of course, with that in mind, AMZN on watch here, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, Yannick, thanks for that in the chat. Appreciate that. I'll be sure to get on that, no doubt. But yeah, let's see the basket case. Yeah, we like, I don't know, Roaring Kitty, he had some crazy options. I forget what he had. Do you remember what he had in unrealized gains? I think at one point it was a ridiculous amount of money.
Remember.
It was hundreds of millions of dollars, I'm pretty sure, of unrealized gains via options on GameStop,
That's
which was
insane.
absolutely insane. So
wild.
it's
Would you take profits? Be real. Like if you saw 60 million unrealized, are you just?
That's it. It's done.
You're cashing out. You're retiring.
It's done at that point. You know what I mean? We're gone. So you probably would never see me again at that point.
He's going to Bahamas, Cayman Islands.
Yeah, anywhere at that point. Yeah, but no, all fun and games, guys. But yeah, continue to let us know what you're looking at in the chat. What are you looking at, Satya?
For sure. I'm looking at Uber right now, and I was looking at a possible recovery, but this just looks really, really bad as of right now. Not really seeing the volume. We did have a little bit of a bounce here at 60.40 around 11 a.m., and I'm noticing a very distinct, at 11 a.m., I'm noticing that bounce happen on multiple tickers, but I really do want to see that volume. I want to see this hold. Okay, so we're seeing a little bit more volume coming in. I'm seeing increased volume here. And so that looks pretty decent, but I'm not convinced yet because we are still in a significant downtrend. And so, like I said, I'm not really a person to time the bottom, even though this is not necessarily right at the bottom, but I want to see more of a recovery here. And I feel like that doesn't happen until we cross here around this $61.15, $61.10 mark. And so if it can get up there and hold that VWAP, then I'll be convicted to get in. I am seeing more volume here happening, but let's just see what's happening on the tape. I feel like that might give me a little bit more juice here to see what's going on. So I'm looking at the tape here. I'm seeing a lot of kind of let's see. I'm seeing a lot of ones on the tape. I'm gonna filter it to go, let's see here. Let's make it 50. See if I see a little bit more action. I'm seeing pretty consistently 500 shares, 100 shares. So the buying is coming in. So I don't think that is an issue here. And so, yeah, that volume is coming in. I think that's more confirmation here. And I was looking at this candle, this volume candle, and it was just shooting up here. Just visibly seeing it, I can just see that the volume's coming in, it's trying to hold, but I want to make sure that I'm not seeing resistance at that 61.04 level, which is that VWAP level that it previously struggled with. So that is what I'm looking at on Uber. But what are you guys looking at? Let me know in the chat so that we can go over it for you guys. Someone's saying FOMO on Sound. Let's see what Sound is doing. Someone was saying it was up 19%. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, this is insane.
Wow.
See, I love these high breaks, but I feel like I don't even want to weasel my way in. I mean, if
you're not gonna weasel, you're not gonna wet the beat.
No, I didn't even get in, but like, I don't know. Usually I like the high of day breaks, especially when it comes in for a second time. But I feel like the move really was here, right around this 1475 mark here, at this pre-market high break. And then, I mean, you could get in here. Maybe you can, you know, if you're trying to get in at this market price, 1645, maybe you can risk to the bottom of this candle. It looks like it's coming in hot though, or even the bottom of this candle, 1555. But I don't know, I feel like I just have to be content with the fact that I missed this move. And so I'd rather just look at a ticker that kind of has my setup rather than just FOMOing in, because I know that if I punch in, it's gonna be in drawdown. That's just that. And so I don't think that I have the confirmation that I need. How about you, Joe?
Yeah, no, and just speaking of SoundHound, this thing has been on an absolute tear. Like, look at this daily today. It's just been on an absolute monster move, putting in another big day here on SoundHound. So, I mean, you can't go wrong. Breaking the all-time highs on SoundHound, I believe. Oh, no, not quite, but previous highs on SoundHound. So, again, you can't go wrong with a stock that's trending like this, I don't think. So, continue to stay on the right side of the strength. And you might be sitting on some pretty pennies there. Adam DeLuce, where are you? I know everybody in the UK, the UK folk like to go to Ibiza and the Greek islands and stuff like that. So he says he's in some tropics. So let's see where our good friend Adam DeLuce is sitting. Yeah, exactly. But guys, Bitcoin is starting to crawl back, and it has recovered most of the losses that it put on earlier in the session after that really intensive selling. But I mentioned earlier, and I like that Satya pointed it out on Walmart, was just that this potential stopping volume, and that's exactly why I got into the position. I don't know why that did that, but okay. Anyways, but guys, it's really key. So I'm not going to look to play reversals on any of these stocks unless I see these specific these specific signatures. Okay, so this is my indication in order for me to go in a reversal trade. I know I heard you saying before that you like to trade around the volume weighted average price. It's kind of your line in the sand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm the same way, okay? So that's pretty much my playbook. I like to look for a definitive line in the sand, and that's usually the volume weighted average price for me. But when I see these definitive signals like Satya pointed out on Walmart, and as I pointed out here on IBIT, this can insinuate a potential reversal signal, so that's why I decided to take this. So now, Satya, we're slowly starting to crawl back higher, pulling back a little bit, but potentially going to go and test that 57.79 level there on IBIT. What else are you looking at?
I just had a question about your chart. So I've noticed that a lot of the time, like you get in below VWAP and then you start adding as it gets closer to VWAP. And I noticed you're really good at like timing those bottoms, which I'm not really necessarily great at. So like, what do you use as kind of a level for you to get in and be so precise with your entries?
Yeah, so that's kind of exactly what I was just pointing at here. when we did our volume price analysis lesson there, and I was showing everybody in the chat what was going on and what I'm specifically looking for. It's these isolated volume signatures with an indecision like a doji candle, so at an extreme. So if we're at an extreme high or at an extreme low, I'm going to look for that volume influx that can possibly insinuate that this is stopping volume or igniting volume, all right, depending in what direction you're going. So that's why I have the, when I see these, I like to add into them because this can kind of dictate that, hey, we're going to slowly crawl higher.
Right.
But it's this volume and the candle prints that give me those signals and those confirmations to say, hey, we've either reached a top or a bottom, and that's where I base the trade. So I usually don't pick bottoms, but when I see these signals is when I try to take those trades on.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah,
That looks really good. I'm gonna steal that from you. Thanks.
Absolutely. But that's why I pointed out to you on Walmart, because that's what I'm looking for at all times. So we'll pull back the Walmart chart up, and we'll use this as an example, because if I were to seen this earlier, then this would be like, hey, this can possibly dictate that we can turn around, that a potential bottom is put in, and then the price may turn around. And it would be the same if it were to be an inverted hammer candle or a shooting star, whatever you would like to call the doji. But it's that indecision candle combined with an extremely large isolated volume signature. So this is picture perfect to me. You have that outstanding volume compared to all the relative volume prints with that hammer candle at a low. So that's like, okay, maybe are we possibly turning around here? And sure enough, that has been the case. It's been trending higher for the rest of the session. And then the exact same thing happened here on IBIT as well too. I have the entry kind of on there, but you can see that it's a somewhat of a hammer candle with that isolated volume signature at an extreme low. So yeah, so
that looks great. Thank you so much for that. I hope you guys were listening. You dropped the golden nugget, golden ticket. Like, come on.
Those are, and you'll see them time again. Now that you realize, now that you can identify them, and you see things at extreme highs and lows, you'll recognize it, and then you can just build a sample set based off of that, and you can have a good time with that. Yeah.
For sure. I feel like sometimes I don't look at the volume as much as I should, and I feel like you're right. It is very distinct. It's staring you in the face, especially on that Walmart one. And so, yeah, I definitely think that is something that I should implement a little bit more in my trades. So that looks great. What else do we got here? Someone's saying Nike's melting. Let's see what Nike's doing. Nike. Let's see here. Oh, I don't really like this, to be honest. I feel like it's just too choppy for me. I like momentum trades, and so it's not looking too great. If we look here on a higher time frame, let's see what it's doing on the week. So on the weekly, it's looking pretty nasty and pretty ugly, as we can see that we do have this distinct downtrend here. I'm going to make this red just to kind of signify that we are in this downtrend here. And so, yeah, we are in this channel. And so we've been in this channel since December 18th. And so this, when was this actually? Of 23, wow, so that is pretty nasty. So it gets up to the top of this channel, not necessarily at it, but it's kind of in this trend here going to the downside. And so if I was looking at a dip buy on Nike, I would be looking kind of near the bottom of this channel around 63, maybe looking at an even dollar level around 60. But I would say that this is also the bus stop level that I'm looking at, around 57.40. But I would say 60 is just more of a psychological level that I feel like it's more likely to hit rather than that precise 57.40. So that looks interesting. Did I miss a super chat?
Just dropped.
Okay. Shout out to you both for always dropping that knowledge. Shout out to you, Yoel Arena. Sorry if I butchered that, but shout out to you. Thank you for showing love. We love you guys. And so, yeah, hit the bang for that one. Hit the bang. And so we love you guys. Shout out to that. But we also want to know what else you guys are looking at in the chat. Someone's saying SoFi news. Let's see here. Let's take a look at SoFi. Oh, wow. Wow, this is insane with SoFi. What is interesting about this, and I feel like I drew this line a while ago, but from October 28th, we had this distinct breakout at 1068. And so what is interesting about this is if we look here, notice how it's in this range, and then it breaks out of this range really strong. And so I would say that, I mean, Can we retest these 10s, 11s? I think that is kind of a thing of the past, but I do think that a little bit of a pullback, maybe around 1380, is something that we may see if you want to kind of weasel your way in, not necessarily getting in at that market price, but waiting for that pullback. But I do think that the continuation of this long, especially for a swing trade, is looking really good right now. If we're looking for day traders, let's see what's going on, if this will load. This is really interesting to me as well. I like it for the swing trade. This looks really decent for a long a day trade as well. What I'm really looking at, though, is the break of the 1625. I like the day's high breaks, and so that is something that I'm looking at. If we can get a little bit above here, I would say around 1630, then I would be a little bit more convicted in this trade, just because I don't want to see a wick, the same thing that happened in the morning here around 9:30. I don't want to see that at all, but if I can see 1630, I'm going to go for the long. How about you, Joe?
Yeah, you know what? I might look at that long as well, too. But you know what time it is today? It's 12 o'clock.
Yes.
So it's time for okay. All right. Not quite yet. We're not ready yet. Sorry. Jumping the gun on that one. But we'll continue to talk a little bit more. What I want to point out here, Satya, is, and I might like this. I don't know if I really like this. Actually, I'm going to answer a question before I jump into that. So what do you use to monitor volume, please? Escape Planet. It's just classic volume. So this is what I would like to refer to as volume by time, all right? So we know we have the volume point of control, which is essentially volume by price, but this is volume by time signatures, okay? So I think 1,000, even 100% of all platforms will have volume by time, but yeah, we're gonna send it off to Adara, and then we're gonna send it to Neil for his lesson of the day.
A push to the downside for the Qs, which are still up about 0.3%, but that's likely because we were up about 1%. Near day's highs. Now let's talk about the SPY, which is actually down in the day right now, though pattern-wise, these are actually looking pretty similar. That long leg to the downside, topping tail candles, and attempts to recover. Also with regards to SoFi itself had no catalyst, but Affirm did, so this could be a sympathy play. Affirm announcing here a $4 billion loan deal with 6th Street to boost buy now, pay later growth. It looks like that's the catalyst this could potentially be running on, so keep an eye on that. Also, though, lots to keep an eye on here in this market. We had earnings here for Broadcom, Costco, and RH there, so a lot in the earnings space. Of course, we still have crypto on watch. Dogecoin, I was just seeing Dogecoin market cap reaching $60 billion. We had some midday catalysts as well with Green Boots Alliance and finding out some more details about its Sycamore deal as reported there by an individual. But let's take a look here at Broadcom, which is one earnings name that's been really interesting. We get to a bit of a double top here at that 221 level and push to the downside. They did beat on earnings per share, missed on sales, but their sales did increase by roughly $5 billion on a year-over-year basis, and they reached record AI numbers. So still generally a good look here for AVGO. We also had Tesla, which is on watch. This is the only strong name here on the Mag 7. And looks like it's part of this and Broadcom probably lifting up the Qs. In terms of catalysts today, we did have some reports that the new Trump team is going to be potentially looking at limiting this NHTSA, or the National Highway Traffic Safety Association rule, that has resulted in Tesla having to report a lot of incidents. So we can keep an eye on TSLA here. But also, just going to do a brief thank you here to our sponsors at Worksport. Introducing new discover in the NASDAQ. Worksport, ticker WKSP. Worksport is a U.S.-based manufacturer and is rapidly expanding with growing revenues, government contracts, and innovative green energy products designed to power your life off-grid. Whether you're on the move or seeking sustainable energy solutions, Worksport has you covered, and they're now trading on the NASDAQ under WKSP. Discover the future of clean energy with Worksport. Make sure to like and subscribe to the stream if you're enjoying what you're watching. Participate in our poll for our rundown at 3 p.m. Vote for your ticker of choice. And check out Neil and his lesson of the day. He's going to be right over there. Take it away, Neil.
Thank you very much, Adara. Your lesson of the day inspired a little bit by questions we've been getting in the chat about stocks like UNH, stocks like MSTR sometimes. Certainly Uber falls into that category, AMD. They have something in common. They're all trending down. Every day we come in, they just feel like they're weaker and weaker, and everyone's trying to catch a bit of a bottom. And there was something, I'm going to start off by saying something I was talking with my physiotherapist last night, because with regards to MSTR and Tesla and some other stocks. And when he was telling me about liking MSTR, looking for a place to get in, what I sort of said to him was like, always understand the difference between a trade and an investment. I always consider an investment something that if nothing terribly fundamental changed in the company and the stock and it went down 25 or 30%, I would absolutely want to buy more. And if the answer isn't yes to that, then is it really an investment? Like, do you really believe the company is a good investment if nothing terribly changed and you could just, in the chart, legitimately trade it down? I'm not talking about like magically you get that price. Would you still buy it? If the answer is no, maybe you should consider trading that stock. A lot of times we want to get a good deal. And I don't want to talk about a day trade today. I want to talk about what you can look for signs that at least there might be a reason to get into something which is a falling knife. I'm not going to get into the politics and everything that's behind UNH going down. I think we all understand what's going on here. It's out of favor. And every single time it's dipped into what looks like a support level and bounced, it's still dropping. And one of the things I always talk about is if it's trending down, if a stock was trending up, why do we have no trouble holding it till it gets to the high when it's trending? Or we're more likely to think it's getting to the high. But when a stock is doing this, we don't have any reason to believe it's going into a supply zone. This is not terribly complicated. There was a key level here at 510, which is trying to bounce off of. If it doesn't break the trend here, why would it not be headed down underneath $500 to 480? Like, shouldn't that be the default position in something which has formed a new trend? This is a new event, reversing the high and trending down. And it just confirmed the downtrend the last couple of days. So before we think about, oh, it's an automatic buy at X or Y, why don't we allow it to either get to the price where there has been some obvious supply and significance, or let it reverse the trend? If it's done neither of those things, why are we always in such a rush to get in? Now, I will grant you, on Uber, that seems like it's getting close. Uber, bad news, or what is perceived as bad news with GM and getting away from Cruise, and then you have this consolidation, breakdown another level, we're getting another consolidation. Like, let it come to you. Why isn't it a short until it's not? Obviously, there is a big supply zone, and it seems like it wants to test it. As a day trader, the thing you can do is just look for short setups. But the more tricky one, and where this all started from when I was talking to my physiotherapist, was everybody wants to catch like SMCI when it bottoms out or get the bottom on MSTR. And the MSTR is the perfect example of something that if you actually waited for confirmation that a key level was holding and short seller report, MSTR comes back in, clearly you can find a significant level at 350. It bounces it once. Well, you know what? You don't have to have it then. See what patience does in a downtrend? It bounces twice. And what does patience do again in a downtrend? It bounces a third time. This is proof that you don't actually have to get the bottom. You just have to observe the bottom and then trade off the bottom that you observe. And if you miss it, who cares? So like, really, should we be losing sleep about missing out dip buys on downward trending companies, stocks? Why? If you miss a dip buy in an uptrend on a stock that you like, then you should not be happy with yourself. It's like, I missed a really good opportunity. But if you missed a chance to catch a falling knife, who cares? Either it does show you a bottom and you're joining that bottom, or wait for the next best opportunity. And again, I don't want to sound like I'm preaching or anything, but this really, and I know this isn't a day trade that usually I'm going to go over, but this is such a common thing that we get time and time again. When should I buy X? Where's a good price to buy Y? When should I get back into this? Where should I hold this stock to? And almost every single time that question is coming from a stock that is just in a downward trend. And we're not willing to wait until buyers emerge. There's a power to finding where big money gets in or is comfortable getting back in position, or at least at a minimum stop selling. When you can find those types of levels, all of a sudden you have something to trade off of. We already showed liquidity grab on MSTR. Look at the liquidity grab, biggest pullback. Look at the liquidity grab. Where did it open the next day and hold? 360. 360 again. You don't even need to have it there. 360 again, win. 360 again, win for a couple of days. Just wait for the level to emerge, show some patience, and you can be good to go. And I have to end with this, and I know this is not bullish, but when we talk about support and resistance and supply zones, MSTR today, I'm slapping a big, I wasn't watching it, but I'll slap a fail for not watching it. When a stock makes this kind of a move going into the close, late money matters more. And MSTR dumped the you-know-what in the end of the day. And the key thing here is not so much that it sold off at 404.5 underneath 405. It's that when it got back up here, Bitcoin bounced back over 100,000 and is holding above 100,000. And yet there's still sellers on this stock. So yeah, you've been able to bounce off the 350, but support and resistance matters. It actually showed you a sell again this morning, and that was an obvious level to work off of. But the real lesson here is we shouldn't be rushing to find reasons to buy downward trending names. What we should be doing is be extra patient. You should be more willing to miss a trade in a stock that's trending down, getting that bottom. And you should be a little bit more regretful if you miss a buy in an upward trending stock. Like, that's going to bug me way more than, oh no, I didn't get the bottom on Intel. Oh, I didn't get the bottom on AMD. I should be kicking myself for not being short every day until it stops working. That's the way I should be. That's the way we should all be looking at it. Heck, I didn't short AMD yesterday. I did and lost and didn't get back in, and I didn't short it again at the open today. Like, I regret that much more than not finding the bottom in a downward trending stock. So there's your lesson of the day. Don't be overly eager to jump on that trade just because you think it has so much more to reverse. Allow it to show you a reason to get in to a downward trending stock. We get too many questions about this, and no one ever wants people to lose money. But at the end of the day, trend is your friend till the end, as Obi says, when it bends. There's your lesson of the day. Not to be all preachy. Good luck out there, everybody.
Hit the bang. Just such great knowledge.
Oh, as always, if you're not listening, then what are you doing? If you're not listening when Neil has his short-term lesson of the day, then are you even really listening?
No, they're not listening. You're not hearing them.
You're not hearing what he has to say at all. Guys, those are golden nuggets as always. And you know what? Today I was going to take a little bit of a trade here on AVGO because it's exactly what we were just talking about not too long ago, correlating volume and price. And then we have that indecision candle on the 5-minute on AVGO. The volume signature isn't there, but with a strong trend like this, hovering a little bit below VWAP, I would have liked to participate in this one. But so far, it seems the ship has sailed on that front. Oh, but it looks like you're in a couple positions.
Yes,
so talk to us.
Yeah, for sure. So I just got filled on SoFi at 1630. I said I was going to get in there. And then I also got in on Roblox at 11s. And so I wanted to get in at 04s, but I feel like I'm asking for a little bit too much. It did get to around 07s, and I saw it. It's kind of stalling there for a bit. If we go here, on Roblox here. Yeah, I really wanted that 04s. It kind of got to that level a little bit, but I saw it printing 07s. It stalled there for a little bit, and I'm like, I should really punch in right now. But I'm just like, no, let me stick to my guns. And then I kind of regret that, to be honest, because that was a great trade. I feel like I should really seize those opportunities when they happen because they don't happen too often. And a lot of the time I'm pretty good at, detecting when there's a little bit of a stall there. But I mean, I just wanted to stick to my plan. And so sometimes sticking to your plan, it doesn't work out in the way you want it to, but it's working out pretty well right now. And I'm going to let that ride. For Roblox, I'm looking to take profits around 60-40. I feel like I'll take a little bit of a piece off there. And then if I like what I see, then I will add a little bit there. But I want to see what it does at that 60-40. If we can really hold strong and see just a strong green candle there, or if it wicks off of that level. And then also going on SoFi. So they kind of look similar in the way that I'm looking for this this previous high kind of break here. And so it's at 32s right now, as I got in at 30s. And so I'm looking at 1640 for this one. And then for Roblox, did I say 40s on this one too? yes, 40s on that one as well. And so looking at 20 cents for both trades. How about you, Joe?
Ooh, yeah, beautiful stuff there. So hopefully those continue and will work out for you. But yeah, we're just holding off on some IBIT. It's unfortunate that I missed that AVGO trade, but that's okay. There's always going to be another opportunity, especially we still have some time on the session. And Yoel Reyna, do I believe that the NVDA hype is supposed to increase by 30% early next year? Early next year, I don't know. I mean, they're continuing to have blowout quarters, extreme demand for the Blackwell chip. So again, I do think that NVIDIA is going to increase. We do have a bunch of analysts after that report gave the price an upgrade up towards that $170 price target. So, I mean, chopping around in these levels, accumulating some shares, and then potentially taking that second leg higher, I think that the hype is real. There's no doubt about it. But when it's going to happen, only time will tell. And unfortunately, that's one thing that we have to be patient with in the market is we have to be really patient and wait for things to start working out. So, Taya, what do you think? Like, because as much as we'd like to jump the gun, we don't want to anticipate too much. We'd like to participate in these because we're little and we're small on that front. We let the big boys do all the price movement.
No, and we just jump on the bus.
and we just ride the wave. Yeah, we just ride the wave. Yeah, that's what we do. We just ride the wave. So once that wave starts to formulate, then you can look to participate on that front as well too. But guys, so Taya, on our SPY poll that we do, so we do at 1 o'clock every day, we do a long and short collective trade. We got 240 votes, but we like to hit around 1,000. So come on, tell the people, we got to get to 1,000. Get it up.
Go.
Yeah, raise those
1,000.
1,000.
Yeah, we need that.
It's Friday. It's Friday, too. Friday the 13th, in fact, at that. So there's every reason for us to turn this ship around, Satya, because you've seen what we were up, a whopping $3.
Yeah.
Right? A whopping paper dollars. So we need to turn this around and get back on the positive side of things. How are your trades working out?
For sure. So I'm looking at it. They kind of reversed on me a little bit. Let's see what's happening here on Roblox. I'm still pretty convicted in this trade. I feel like I might hop out if it hits around 59.99, 59.98. I find that I like it to stay above those even dollar levels, and then if it does break it and come back up, then I'll get back in. It's just something that I like to do just so that I'm not incurring too much downwards risk, because if it truly is going to go to the upside, then it should break that $60 level again. And so I don't want to hold it down and then hope for it to come up. I'd rather just get out, wait for it to drop, and then come hop back on that bus when it does. But it's holding that 9 EMA right now at 60. It's at that 9 EMA. It is a psychological level. So those two confluences are giving me more conviction in this trade. So I'm going to let it ride, and it's doing its thing. So I think that I'm going to let that ride. And then with SoFi here, this one, it looks like this one's going to be more of a little bit of a trickier trade. I feel like I don't really like when it kind of chops like this in this motion. It's more of a psychological thing rather than the price action being bad per se. But I don't know. I just feel like I just need to be in these type of trades more often to kind of be more convicted in it. But I do like the action. I do like the fact that it's trailing that 9 EMA. It has this kind of action here where it hits this red trend line, it hits there, comes down, but then it's still holding that 9 EMA. So that looks really good. Might just be a little bit of a chop, but I'd say that it's still going to the upside. And so I just need to be, content with the fact that not all of my trades are just going to be a straight green candle, because that is what I'm looking for. But I think that just being convicted, staying in the trade for a little bit longer than I typically would have is just going to keep me afloat with this trade. How about you, Joe? Yeah,
for sure. I know a lot of people in the chat, they like talking about Tesla. There are a lot of Elon fans out here. So we're going to talk a little bit about Tesla because it is my third largest holding in the long term. And we're really appreciating it. And I added some size too, actually, Satya, before this breakout. So I was fortunate. I've been sitting in this for quite some time, since early last year, later last year, sorry. And now everything is starting to work out in our favor because we know that Elon is going to be working alongside Donald in the new administration. Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about Tesla. I mentioned this the other day and on the rundown with Sean, the recap with Sean yesterday, is that I thought that we might be in some potential exhaustive volume scenarios, kind of like PLTR was, all right? But as of right now, it doesn't seem to be the case. We are still continuing to crawl higher and higher and actually putting in all-time highs on the session. Now that I'm looking at this from a daily standpoint, Satea, we made all-time highs today, pushing up to 431 on the session. So yeah, that is a new all-time high. We have since pulled back in on Tesla, but I am bullish on this stock for the foreseeable future. I'm an Elon bull. I like SpaceX. I like Neuralink. I like the tunnels he's digging in Las Vegas. Everything to do with Elon Musk, I'm all for it because he has proven himself time and time again to be a winner. What do you think about Elon, Satea?
I think he's up to big things. I feel like if you doubt him, he just always proves you wrong every single time. Like, he has his hands in so many things.
So many things,
right?
right?
So I feel like Tesla is just a force that can be reckoned with. You can't say that this company won't be around in the next 10 to 15 years.
No.
I just say that.
So would you buy a robo-taxi if you could?
I definitely would.
Yeah, so like you
just automate that business.
Yeah, just automate it. You don't have to worry about driving. You just type it in on the GPS where you're going every day, and then just sit back and relax. So
I would just get a fleet of them.
A fleet of them.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I think a lot of people are kind of swaying towards, is because this vehicle can work in your sleep, right?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
automated, so that's kind of the goal that a lot of people have been talking about, is that when you're sleeping, you can kind of be your own Uber business in the meantime, so making money while you sleep, and in the stock market as well, too. So yeah, Diane Freak, IBIT is jamming its own song and not with the SPY. Great pick. Yeah, I appreciate that. That's the whole point of this thing. It's supposed to be decentralized, right? So sometimes when it trails the cues, it's like, well, we're supposed to be our own entity here. So let's never mind what's going on in the overall market, and let's do our own thing in the encrypted space. So I really, really like IBIT. Guys, you know that I trade this over and over and over again, and I'm going to continue to trade this as long as it's in play.
Absolutely.
Why not trade it? And sure enough, we know that the gains that Bitcoin can provide, especially over time. We've seen the move that it just went from 77,000 to north of 100K. Why would you, regardless of what the name is, it could be anything. I know Michael Noss was talking about Fartcoin this morning. Yeah, you were Fartcoin. So yeah, I thought you would maybe know a little bit about something that went, and like dog with hat. It could be anything. I'm gonna look to participate if it has this kind of like this product that we have with that BlackRock ETF here, having record inflows. Again, just hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin being flown in from this vehicle, the spot ETF by BlackRock. So the largest one of its group. So we really like. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So the positions board is down, guys. They're just doing a little maintenance on it, no problem. But we are slowly starting to recover on Bitcoin. So, Tay, let's see if we can go and test those high days. What do you think?
Absolutely. So I'm looking at this trade here. I'm looking at my SoFi. I'm looking at my Roblox. And, you know, it's trekking up. It's still doing its thing. I am getting a little bit nervous because I did think that I would see more volume here, but I think that if I do see a pullback, at least on Roblox, around 59.96, maybe I'll give it a little bit more room. I think 96 is maybe a little bit too conservative. 59.90, or do I want to give it to 60s? No, I think I'm going to give it to 59.90, and if it gets down there, then I think it may hit 59.60, but 59.90, if it does hit that and then go to 60s, then I'll jump back in. But I think that I'm going to put my stop loss there because I don't want to see it get down there. But what are you guys talking about in the chat? We got here, NVIDIA still bullish. I mean, I love my girl, but let's see what she's doing here. Bullish today? Maybe not today. I don't know about today, to be honest, because what I can see here, like, we are really struggling with this 134.16 mark, and so it is looking, you know, on the shorter time frame, it is making lower highs here, but that volume really isn't enough. It looks like it's just consolidating a little bit and coming to the downside, and so I don't really necessarily like that. What else do we got here? Someone is saying AMD selling fast now. AMD.
Wow, it's living up to the name, eh?
Yeah, see, oh wow. What I like about this is it got to that VWAP level. I wish I was looking at this actually. Yeah, flush.
Yeah.
Damn flush.
Yeah.
Look at that. 127.60 just precisely got up to that VWAP level, couldn't break that VWAP, and then just smacked down. And so that is what we're doing here. Like WWE, it's just getting smacked down.
Oh, smack. That's a good one. Hey.
And so it looks like it's trying to recover a little bit on that 3-minute, but I feel like if I do want to get involved, I do want to see a little bit of a retracement, maybe around 127. But ideally, 127.57 really was that move getting closer to VWAP. So that looks decent as well for the short. And so we may see a possible bounce here at 124.82. But if not, then definitely if it breaks this level, then the continuation of the downside definitely is in play. What else do we got here? Someone is saying, let's go up, NVIDIA, Tesla. Let's look at Tesla. Oh, yeah, we did Macy's. That's something different. Macy's. The pre-market's not, oh, I don't know why that, oh, it's just M, right. Macy's. I don't really like this, to be honest. I feel like there's not a lot of volume going on here. I feel like the bulk of this trade should have happened in the morning if you did get involved. If you did get in at these lows around 1628, 1637, then, you know, ride the wave. But I feel like if you're trying to look for an opportunity as of right now, the volume is just not something that is really there right now. We look at this top here. We have 1669, call it 1670s here. And then I'm looking at this range here. So we're just going to forget about, you know, the morning drive trade that happened, but really looking at what the consolidation is looking at. And so the consolidation's between 1645 as well as the 1670 mark. And so I think that it'll just chop between those levels. If you're a range trader, then I say that, you know, you could risk, you know, if you're going short, you could risk to these tops. If you're going long, maybe you could risk to these bottoms, but I just feel like it's not giving you enough momentum for this to really be a fruitful trade. So that's what I'm looking at. How about you, Joe?
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually talking with one of my my buddies in the chat there. He's kind of trolling me a little bit. He's saying, Joe, IBIT is going to need a lot more gas to go higher here. Dan is actually one of my my old friends. We started a trading pod together way back in the day when I was trading at home with another guy that from Connecticut are in the chat, Greg V. So Dan and Greg, we were in a little bit of a collective pool there. They live in the States, and me, obviously, us being here in Toronto. So it's always.
How did you guys meet?
Just through another online trading community. We were always just kind of like trading and always had similar ideas. So we formed this group and we were together for a couple years, and then
That's
so
dope.
yeah, exactly. And it was really nice having those guys around because you go up the ups and downs of trading because we know how turbulent.
Bounce ideas off of each other.
Exactly, and how turbulent it can be earlier off in your career with trading. But yeah, Greg, Dan's in the chat. Say what up to Danny F. But we're gonna send it off to Adara for now, Satya.
For sure.
Just be aware here of Taiwan Semi. This one is up here about 4.2% right now, TSM, though it is definitely removed from day's highs. Initially, looked like this was trading higher because we had a statement from International Data Corp, or IDC, that the company is likely to have a 67% foundry market share by the end of 2025. They also forecast significant revenue increase for TSM, but we actually have a new catalyst coming through. I'm seeing this circulate on social media. Nikkei reportedly saying that TSMC's, or Taiwan Semi's, first Japan fab is actually on track for mass production by the end of the year. So keep an eye here on TSMC with this Japan production story, guys. Back to you.
Dig into that one a little bit there, Adara. I like some semi talk because we know that we need TSM.
Yes.
Was it TSMC? Yeah. So we need them. I know NVIDIA is chewing up a lot of share for them. So again, good on TSM. I think they're building some new plants as well too. So that can be interesting. Let's see what's going on the forefront of that. But what do you got going on there, Satya?
For sure. I'm just looking at those trades that I was in, and I'm trying not to fret too much about it. With the SoFi trade, it got to this 1620 mark. There's a wick on there on the 3-minute, and it did have like this strong wick up, and it closed around 1626. So this looks decent as well. I'm gonna let that ride a little bit. I do think that I will put my stop loss around 1615. I don't think that I want to hold it all the way down there. I mean, it's possible that it can bounce off of that VWAP level, but I think that is just a little bit too far from my entry. So I'm going to take, just keep an watchful eye out for that. And then someone is saying Tesla sideways. I'm out of here.
They're out of there. They're out of here. All right.
Let's look at this Tesla here.
Take a look at some Tesla.
Yeah, I wanted to go long on this, and I was, eyeing it because of the VWAP hold here. But yeah, it's just not doing too much as of right now, just a lot of choppy action. I feel like the real move was around, I bet it's around 10, yeah, around 9:40, 10 a.m. And so that was the big bulk of the move. And I feel like, just be content with the fact that it's done, it's over with as of right now, and just move on to something that's moving. As Obi would say, where's the next trade? And so that's all you really have to look. There's so many tickers that you could look at. It's not like it's crypto where if Bitcoin or Ethereum's not moving, then there's nothing else that you can really trade. There's so many sectors that you can look at in the equities market. And so just, take a look around, look at trending ticker lists, look at dividends, look at trending ticker lists, dividends, and just so many other things. And so someone's saying SPY making a double bottom, it seems, will be going back up, hopefully. Let's see here. SPY.
SPY.
It doesn't look like it's bouncing as of yet. I really do want to see a bounce around this. I would say 600, to be honest. I say it may break this bottom here around 603.08. I think that we may break that level here. But if we do see a bounce, then possibly. But I don't think that it's enough to really bring it up. But are we going to Adara?
Yeah, we're gonna head it off to Adara.
Okay, sure.
Crapstock, what is it? What kind of comment is that? That is insane. You see it in the chat.
No.
Guys, we're gonna send it off to Adara here.
We do have here the Russell 2000 is certainly on watch because this is actually down more than 1%, near a double bottom here around 233.3. So keep an eye on that. In terms of small caps on watch, there is WKEY. That's WiseKey with a float of about 3.2 million shares. And it's worth noting as well, this one actually had a catalyst with regards to SpaceX, apparently going to be doing a satellite launch with SpaceX on January 15th, 2024. So keep an eye on that. We also have Cumberland Pharmaceuticals. This is a nice little bull flag for CPIX. And now, this is no new catalyst for this one today, but they did announce on Tuesday they did get FDA approval for a supplemental new drug application there for acetadote. So keep an eye here for CPIX. Last but not least, friend of the show, Worksport WKSP, up about 15% here. We announced this catalyst earlier, but they did announce some milestones, including a 127% here increase in new deal growth. So good look there. Also worth noting here, they actually are announcing they're looking to invest in BTC and XRP. So we already heard some crypto investment talks from WKSP. Looks like that's going to continue to come to fruition. Also, just be aware here, Josh Brown currently speaking about Uber on CNBC. So watch UBER. Back to you guys.
We all know about the Josh Brown pumps. Are you familiar with Josh Brown from CNBC?
No.
Oh, yeah. So whatever he buys, it's like kind of like a roaring kitty kind of. But this guy's legit. He's part of Ritholtz. I think he's the kind of the lead analyst, or not the analyst, but the head guy there at Ritholtz. So anything he buys, the market just starts pumping because he does so well for himself. So
do you usually like follow that train? Like if they're saying something on the news, do you usually jump on board, or like what's your kind of
no? Like I won't just like blindly jump in. Obviously, I'll do my own due diligence and stuff like that. But I definitely take into consideration what they say. So speaking of CNBC, I've like a couple analysts there. Tom Lee from Fundstrat, and then Danny Ives from Wedbush. Those are like my two head guys. If they're saying something, I'm definitely going to take into consideration what they have to say. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, for sure. But Pedro Khan, Joe, got into an Apple 245 put when it was at 249. Can you say printing? No, I can't say it, but I will say storm. It's an absolute money storm. That's even better than printing. Yeah, catch it, because it's just raining everywhere. So congratulations to you, Pedro Khan. Nice trade there. And let me know in the chat, did you buy those out the money? So you're just collecting pure extrinsic value on that front? Congratulations to you. Yeah, Sean James. Thanks, Josh. Exactly. Uber is moving now. Okay, everybody's talking about Uber, Satea. Let's pull up, oh my days. Okay, here we are.
It's moving?
Yeah, look at this. The volume stepping in. It is now absolutely pumping. This thing was absolutely been destroyed ever since that the news that Waymo was going to be entering Florida. So now they're going to be looking to take a little market share share from Uber, but now we are starting to recover, putting in this amazing candle and this crazy volume. Let's see if we can participate in this somehow. Let's break it down a little bit to the 1 minute. Okay, so that volume is continuing, but I want to zoom out a little bit here today and see what we got going from a daily standpoint. Ow. Ouch. So yeah, this was the day that I believe it was announced that Waymo was going to be entering into the Sunshine State. Stop embarrassing me when I hit that. There we go. Beautiful. And yeah, down almost 17% off of that day. So it's been a tough ride since that announcement came out, and now we're slowly starting to recover. So let's see if we can bounce. Josh Brown getting involved here on Uber. Satay, what are you cooking up?
For sure. So I'm still looking at my Roblox trade. I'm thinking that I might hop out of this one just because I wanted to see a little bit more volume around that 60-10 mark. We're currently at 59.97, and so we could see a little bit of a bounce here because it's only about 3 cents below that psychological level. But I'm not too sure yet. You know what? I think I might hop out of this trade because I think that if it does break this 59.90 level, then we might see around 59.73. And I could always hop back in if I do see more volume. But what I'm really looking at is just there was rejection here. And so I'm taking that into account from the morning. And then also it was kind of a struggle level as well in the pre-market as well. So I think that that's something that I have to keep into account. It didn't necessarily hold that $60 level that I really wanted to see. And so that is looking pretty bad for me as of right now. Uber's moving though. I thought that it was going to be a downtrend from here. I was just looking at that, but that breakthrough VWAP hella strong. Insane, honestly. So that looks really good. Did you get involved at that at all?
No, I didn't get involved. I think I'm gonna stay away from that one right now. But again, no promises, people.
No, for sure. Something that I'm just looking through the trending ticker list. I'm looking at Adobe. Someone was saying that in the chat as well. And then this is looking pretty bearish still, but maybe we may see a little bit of a bounce here. I'm looking at around 460.82. I do want to see a little bit of life there. But if we do see a little bit of a rejection, if I go here on the 15-minute or even the 45, let's get the 45. Now I'm going to look at the 15. I do want to see a little bit of a retracement up if we are going for, the continuation of the short. Maybe not necessarily getting in at that market price, maybe a little bit of a pullback for 62.60. But this break is what I'm looking at, 460. Hopefully, it's the pivotal level that I'm really looking at. Someone is saying TNX at 49.93. Let's see what TNX is doing. Oh, wow. This is interesting. I've never seen TNXP. I guess it's this one, TNXP. This one doesn't look like there's too much volume. It's around 23 cents. I did put TNX, but it wasn't on the NASDAQ or the New York Exchange. But this is looking, I don't know, I don't like the volume, that it's not having all of that volume that I like to see. Broadcom is gone. Let's see Broadcom.
Yeah.
Broadcom. Yeah, this is looking like a little bit bearish here, but I still think that it's kind of in a range as well. The levels that I'm looking at is where this wick was, around 11.55. I think that this is a level that I do want to play off of, whether we break down from here or bounce off of that level. And so that looks really interesting. I'm going to set my alert here around 213 and see what we do from there. So I'm just going to put that in here.
Yeah.
Value 213. Gonna put that in, and hopefully we see what we can do from there. What else are you guys looking at? Put it down in the chat. SPX short pressing. Let's look at SPX. Load that up. Yeah, this is looking pretty short as well, but it looks like on the 45-minute, it looks like if we can get above here around the 6,040 mark, I think that there could be a potential little bit of a bounce here, but I do want to see get above that level there, but that's what I'm looking at. How about you?
Yeah, beautiful stuff. No, I'm just still holding on to some IBIT here, Satea. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's looking like we might potentially go and break the high a day here. We're starting to pick up on a little bit of a little momentum, which I really like. So if we can, like, look at this recovery here. So we almost dropped $1 here, Satea, from 57.80s all the way down to a low of 56.75. So now we've recovered. Look at this, starting to push higher here. This is absolutely fantastic. The volume is starting to kick in. I'm loving this because this is my largest holding in the account. So we're starting to roar a little bit here, but we have to send it off to Adara, and we'll get back to you shortly.
Aware here of Uber, UBER. In case anyone missed it, I did drop the catalyst while I was at the green screen because I literally saw it on the TV. But basically what happened here was Josh Brown, who is CEO there of Ritholtz Wealth Management and also hosts the Compound podcast, if you're familiar. So he mentioned Uber on CNBC. I'm not sure exactly what he said. I haven't found any notes on that, but clearly a bullish look, though it is worth noting Uber, a little bit of a pullback, about flat on the day. And interestingly enough, look where we reject. We have this wick here at 61.70, which was actually pre-market support. So we reject pre-market support as of right now on UBER, though I think really notable because of that 5 million share spike in volume. With Uber as well, Josh Brown has pumped the stock before. I mentioned it in CNBC. Another stock that he's done this with in the past is Pfizer. UBER, guys. Back to you.
Thank you, as always, Adara. You know what, guys? We're still in some IBIT, but we just got that big volume pump. So I'm going to look to take a little bit off the top here. We don't have too much left, which is totally fine, but we're just continuing to scalp out. And look at this. This is what we're going to have to record this, even though we do document our trades. But look at this. We grabbed the bottom really nicely on this IBIT recovery. I was just saying to Satea as well, guys, we dropped almost $1 and now we've recovered. So really strong. I told you kind of my intraday thesis on Bitcoin, the encrypted one, on what I was specifically looking for, just due to kind of this engulfing candle that we put in a couple of days ago. So we recovered. We held the support level at the $93,000 mark really well. Glad to see that this underlying asset is super strong, fantastic. And then we put in this kind of breath of a day, little indecision. It does close red, but now we can potentially put in that 3-bar play where we go and exceed that $102,000 price target there. Pedro Khan, $5 super chat, Satea. Yo, yes, got them out the money. It was $2.80 per contract, bang. Okay, now at $3.90 per contract, a total of 10 contracts. Okay, Pedro. So we need to know where Pedro is from because drinks are on him tonight, to say the very least. No, when you're putting up money like that, drinks are on you, my friend. What do you think about that?
Yeah, send them over. Send those drinks express. Come on, you got the money for it. Let's go.
They have Venmo. We have e-transfer, so you can e-transfer me or Satea. And
Bitcoin, Ethereum, we take it all.
We'll take it all. We'll take it all. That's for sure. Thank you, Pedro, for the $5 super chat. Much appreciated. Candlestick Conrad. Yes, it did break the high a day. So let's go. Let's see if we can continue on that front. But what do you got going on for us there, Satea?
For sure. I'm looking at this Uber, and we were just talking about it. I really do want to get involved, but I want to make sure that I'm not getting faked out here. Are we going to get it? Are we not? I'm not too sure, but I'm looking at posting my order at 61.20 as well as 61.10 for those dip buys. I think that I like to get in as close to VWAP as possible. I did miss this initial move, but hopefully if it does pull back here, we can still hold above that level, and I can get that wick before we can continue forward. And if it doesn't play out exactly as I think it will, then I'm just going to put my stop loss just below this candle around 60.75. And so I think that that is a pretty decent risk level to have there, and we'll go from there. But I do want to get involved. I can't just look at this thing and see it blast off without me. I did think that it was going to be a downward trend, but as we see things, we can change our mind. And so I'm seeing also, too, this is exactly very distinct as well. You're talking about those volume candles and exhaustion. And notice how all these small volume candles to the downside, and then we just have this strong green candle to the upside. So that is very distinct. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. And so that looks very interesting as well. And I do want to see that continue forward for the long. And then someone's saying IBIT is flying, so you're still in that, right?
Of course.
Okay,
yeah,
he's still in.
We're in it. We're in it.
Yes. And then what else do we got here? SPY recovery inbound. Let's see what the SPY is doing. I did want to get involved with this SPY as well. I feel like this is not necessarily, in my playbook because I was looking for the low break of the day, but it looks like it's bouncing here around the 602.90 mark, and so I don't think I want to get involved for that short. But I'm flipping through things. I'm trying to see, where my playbook lies, but nothing too crazy yet. How about you, Joe?
Yeah, nothing too crazy going on. We are slowly starting to recover. I know you're just talking about SPY and potential double bottom here, but we did break the low a day, folks. But I want to mention something here. 620 votes when we average 1,000 and we only have 16 minutes left. Come on, guys. We don't give up. Like, look at our equity curve. We need to rebound. Look at this equity curve, Satea.
Yeah.
We need to rebound, and with that, we need to get the votes in because yesterday's poll, it was the closest it's ever been from a percentage standpoint from long and short, with the longs only winning by a staggering 10% when it's been an absolute blowout, the rest of them. So it's been 75%, 25% long to short, and yesterday was the closest. I thought the race would be a little closer than it is today, but again, it seems to be 65% to 35% in a definitive downtrend. I don't know about that one. I voted long. Did you vote?
I voted short.
Oh, you voted short.
Yeah.
So okay, all right. So we don't know where Kyle Burdett is either, because where is he at? Because he would usually be voting short. But guys, we're winners here, eh? And so this is what we need to do. We need to start to recover. Guys, get those votes in the poll, please and thank you, because we need to turn this equity curve completely around because it is pointed to the southeast. We do not want that whatsoever. We like northeast trajectories. So we need you guys to start voting and get those votes in so that we can continue on that path. Elon, Joe W., hi Joe. If there is a huge open interest on a call option, would it be possible the stock price is manipulated to make the calls worthless or expiration date, vice versa? Is there a huge open interest on a call option? Would it be possible the stock is manipulated to make the calls worthless or expiration date, vice versa? That's a really great question. But usually when you see high opens, high volume or high open interest around a specific contract, so like kind of that $1.5, would it be say 400, 405, 410, etc. Just using that as an example, those can be potential hedges, okay? Or some really high an individual who is buying out the money, looking to gain some extrinsic value from those from that move all the way up to those potential strike prices. Open interest can mean a bunch of possibilities, such as hedging, okay, potential price targets, and expected moves within the underlying. So there's no definitive way to depict what those are, but you can kind of insinuate, hey, what is going on with those strike prices and the overall sentiment of that stock. So yeah, that's the best answer that I can give you on that, Elon. So really great question. I vote for short. LBM, I know you've been in here too, so you voted short. I think the short may be coming in. Dan, did you vote? Dan, you better have voted, especially being one of my buddies there. But again, let's see if we can hold these low, Satea. What do you think? Do you think you voted short.
Yeah.
What do you think happens? Do you think maybe we bounce a little bit here, or that we can continue and potentially make another leg down to the downside?
For me personally, a lot of the time in my playbook, like I'm looking for the low of day break. And so it did break around the 603.01. And so usually that kind of gives me a little bit more confirmation for the short. However, one thing that I'm a little bit worried about, especially on the SPY for this trade, is the fact that it already fell from, such a high point, 607, and then we're currently at 603. And so if we look at the ATR, if I go on FinViz here, finviz.com, and then I look on the SPY, close, and I go down to the ATR. The ATR is around $4.40, so we are approaching, that ATR, and so I'm a little bit worried with this one, but I think that I would reasonably take a stab at it and then just risk to around the 604 mark, because I don't want to see it get up there, but I do think, because I feel like this gives it enough room to the point where if we do get up here, then I'm totally wrong, I'm out. but this is in my playbook to do those break of low trades.
Yeah. No, so it's not in your playbook, you said, to play the break of the lower day?
No, I do like
okay,
I do like.
you do like them. Okay,
but
yeah.
I just didn't like the fact that it fell from such a high point at 607, and we're kind of near that ATR already of 440, and so I'm a little bit wary. Maybe I will take it, but just with smaller size.
Yeah, makes sense because you pointed out that high, so it kind of skewed your risk to reward on that front. Yeah, that's really good. So and that's really one thing that I liked about your lesson too. So Tay and I pointed this out, was that just the exponential bet sizing. So kind of just categorizing your trades into a class A, class B, and a class C in order to kind of increase that risk, that share size on those higher ranking classes.
Exactly.
So I really
I would rank that more like a D trade for me.
Yeah, so there you go. So you're going to take a little less size on that one. Absolutely. It's kind of a little bit more of a slow burner, and you take less size. Yeah, so guys, that's one really key point, I think, when it comes to trading, is being able to identify the quality of your setups. And so Taya had a really good lesson on that. So Joseph, have you heard of a singer named DeJounte? He's literally your twin. No, Marco Gonzalez. I have not heard of.
You have so many twins.
Yeah, DeJounte. Yeah. But yeah, guys, you know what time it is. We got to pay some bills. So, Trade the Pool ad. Trade the Pool allows stock traders like you to get evaluated and trade real shares using the company's capital, with no PDT rule holding you back. Trade the Pool has launched a limited edition program for a one-time fee of just $300. You'll receive $80,000 in buying power and the chance to become a funded trader. Hit a profit target of just 4% and you'll start trading with the company's capital. Get funded faster and easier with the new conditions designed for success. And the profit split has been upgraded to a generous 70%, so you keep more of what you earn. Don't wait. Check it out now and see how Trade the Pool can help you trade bigger and better. Most definitely bigger and better with Trade the Pool, guys. So scan the QR code in the corner right there, or just click the link in the description. Or do we have a link in the description? Usually we do. I know if you haven't subscribed, Fabian was working on the new subscription emoji there going on as well too. He never comes up to the mic with me and says, Joe, have I liked and subscribed? But yes, of course I have. So guys, check it out. Make sure you like and subscribe. Absolutely. And see what Joe, check the whales options trade. Chow, is it open interest 45? Yeah, I'll take a look at that in a second. Love you, Josh, but I need to make some money. Okay, talking about Josh Brown. Okay, we love Josh, but hey, triplets blank. Okay, I don't know them. So there's a triplet. These triplets, this singing group they're referring to. It sounds maybe like they may be South American or something, but I don't know. I like reggaeton and listening to Spanish music. But
I do. I love me some reggaeton.
Yeah, you like some Spanish
music? I do.
Let's go. Nice. But yeah, what do you got going on for trade wise there?
For sure. I was actually trying to take a stab at the SPY here, and so I don't know. I just don't like it. I got in at 602.90s, and then it bounced a little bit at 98s. And so I feel like it is a little bit paper hands, but I like to see it go immediately. And the fact that I didn't see that, I kind of just punched out here. And I might regret it because it does look like it's going down, but it does look like it's fighting a little bit with that 90 mark. And so maybe I might get involved around 602.85. I feel like that gives me a little bit more confirmation, but this wick here is like not what I wanted to see at all. And so that's why I punched out as soon as I kind of punched in. I punched in 1 minute, punched out another minute, but I just didn't see what I wanted to see. And I feel like that I'm very disciplined in that way because I want to see it immediately. It needs to go immediately because that's what got me in. And if I don't see that, I just get out and wait for a better opportunity. And so I'm glad I did that because we are currently at 603.28. And so yikes, that doesn't look great. But I did get filled on that Uber trade here.
Let's go.
And so
you're
I
in
got
it now.
in at 61.19. I also have another dip buy at 61.10. And so I'm risking to this level, 60.77. I feel like if we get there, then this may have been a little bit of a fake out here, but I do want to see a hold of that VWAP level. And if I do see it, then I will stay in that trade. But it looks pretty decent as of yet, but I do want to see a hold of that level. If I look here on the hourly chart, see it doesn't look great. What I don't like on the hourly is the fact that it had this wick here, but it's still kind of an uptrend here, so I'm just going to wait and see. I'm going to be patient with this one. How about you, Joe?
Yeah, I totally agree. Patience is really key. I think it's one of the fundamental aspects of trading. But I wanted to ask you this, Satya, because I know you're really into crypto. So if you had the chance, you're familiar with Michael Saylor, right? MicroStrategy, he has all the Bitcoin, like hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So would you rather be an individual like Michael Saylor who just buys Bitcoin on the outright market, or would you rather be kind of like a miner, like the Maras and the Riots of the space?
That is a good question. I feel like I'd rather buy the asset outright.
Yeah.
Just because I'm just when I first got into crypto, I did a lot of research about like decentralized finance and things like that, and I feel like the miner, like connected to the stock and the equity, I feel like it doesn't give me like the decentralization that I'm looking for.
That you're looking for, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a totally different play, I think, from just going with the underlying asset. As proven before from like the charts of, from a daily perspective, like Mara and Riot. So they haven't nearly appreciated as much as Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy has and Bitcoin. So definitely, I definitely agree with you on that front. There's no doubt about that. Guys, but we only have 6 minutes left until we dock our 6th trade as a collective unit. We're pushing up to that 1,000 mark, but we're just a little shy of it, around 771 votes, guys. So continue to get those votes in. LBM, I know you had a solid point in the chat. Sorry, I forgot it. MSTR not going to step by step, and that's why I asked Satya that. So MSTR not going step to step with Bitcoin. I totally agreed, and I want to point this out as well too. Kind of since we were talking about volume price analysis on the session, and I want to bring this up from a daily perspective because I'm going to show an identical setup on Palantir. Okay, so guys, as you can see, if I were to eliminate the ticker name there, you would think, it's kind of an identical setup. So this run that MicroStrategy went on, absolutely fantastic. Michael Saylor just continuing to buy more Bitcoin. The company's starting to appreciate with that underlying asset as well too. But one thing I want to point out, and I will always point out, is this massive engulfing signal right here, Satya, with that engulfing volume signature as well too. I love to correlate price with volume. Beautiful. You see this price action pattern here that I'm referring to, and then I'm going to pull up PLTR. And if you can see the similarities in that, that is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I think you're headed in the right direction. So I like that. So you can see the price isn't obviously the same, Satya, but you notice that we have this massive down engulfing candle with that isolated volume signature, maybe indicating that PLTR is about to pull back a little bit there. So I like to point out those patterns because they do correlate a lot, and you can see these similarities in different and through different tickers. I know I did some other patterns with you guys with Tesla and Google, and sure enough, we got those breakouts that we were talking about. So these are the things that I like to keep an eye out for. I love the correlation between volume and price. It's really key, and I know a lot of people in the chat have been reading the volume price analysis book. So hopefully you guys are enjoying that because I have absolutely. But what do you got going on right now?
No, for sure. I was looking at that Palantir. I know you're looking on the higher time frame, but this looks like a good setup for me as in terms of the day trade, just because it's rejecting off of that VWAP level. We do see like all of these wicks here. This one was from the morning around 9:35, around 10:10. We see all those wicks. It gets to that level and then it just cannot hold those levels. And so we can see here just crazy downtrend here. And so we're seeing that we might have a little bit of a hold up here around this 73.57 mark, but I do think that if it breaks a little bit of this consolidation here, because what I'm seeing, if we kind of zoom in here, is I'm looking at this kind of area. And so I do want to see a break of this level around 73.54 for this short here, risking just above VWAP around 74.28. Those are usually my type of plays here, and I like the fact that it's kind of close to this downwards trend line that I've drawn. Had that wick here, and then we're going down, and I think that this is kind of the second leg that I'm looking for. So I think I'm going to hop in that trade here. I'm going to get in around, I'm going to do around 73.54. It is looking like it's wicking a little bit around that 73.60, but I think 73.54 354 is what I'm going to put my level at. And then my Uber trade is printing, so that is good. So I'm gonna hit the bang. Yes, thank you for the bang. And so that is looking good as well. I did get a little bit nervous with that one. I'm just gonna go back over to Uber here. And this is what I want to see, that hold of that VWAP level. Did I get my dip buy? Yes, I did get my dip buy at 61.10, and so that looks really good. I typically don't split up my entries like that, but I just felt like it's close to VWAP. This is the trade. This is the trade, and so I need to get in a big bulk of it at VWAP. And so what I like about it, even though I was sad that I kind of missed this move, I feel like this second pullback gives me more confirmation because anyone could have got faked out here, right? But I feel like this hold here really stays true to that it will hold and make the next leg up. So someone's saying, Sixto, is it too late to buy Bitcoin long term? I mean, it really depends. Like, are you just new to crypto? Are you just getting into it? I feel like getting in at these $100,000 marks are a little bit, too high. But we're going to Adara and we'll be back with that.
Hey, we have some news here on Nikola. NKLA down about 8% here. Electrek reporting that the production shutdown at the company might be more permanent, saying that apparently a salesperson at a Nikola dealership told the Electrek reporters there that they were instructed not to accept purchase orders on the hydrogen fuel cell trucks for the foreseeable future. So seems like there could be some production issues there. This also follows here a former TSLA complaint claiming that the fuel cell in the truck shuts down unpredictably. So following these complaints, we now have some reports that there is some potentially permanent or long-term shutdown for production at the oft-embattled NKLA. Back to you guys. Make sure to like and subscribe.
Awesome. So yeah, just answering that question here. I feel like it really depends. Like, are you just getting in freshly now? If you do have some skin in the game before, then I would say, adding here at this $100,000 mark doesn't look like a bad look. But I'd say getting in a bulk of your position at this 100,000. I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like it's just a little bit. It's just a little bit too high for me. I would wait for a pullback if you really are itching to get in. I would say 90,000 is something reasonable that I would rather get into rather than at market price as of right now. Let me look on the weekly chart here. Yeah, like a lot of the time with Bitcoin, it reverts the move that it made. So I can see reasonably a dip buy at that 90,000. I think that it's still going to be an uptrend, but I feel like you just have a lower expected value from this $100,000 mark. So give yourself a little bit more room, 10,000 at 90,000. And so I would say that would be a little bit of a better look. If you are feeling a little bit late to the party, I would say just getting into those altcoins. Like something that I'm looking at is actually Solana. At a point of time, I had 70 Solana, sold it all. I'm very sad about that. Yeah, but this, I do want to get, I do want to get back in that one.
Is right.
Yes, and so.
If you still had those, you'd be in the tropics. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you'd be out there. Yeah, you'd be out there.
But I had paper hands with that one. But I would say that this, because I kind of missed the Bitcoin kind of boom there, this would be something that I'm looking at for the next boom for next year. And so I'm looking for a little bit of dip buy. I'm looking at around that $200 mark. I think it can revert to that psychological level, and I think that I would be loading up there. So yeah, rather than getting into Bitcoin, I think that altcoins would be a little bit better because if Bitcoin's moving, the altcoins are going to move, and I feel like you have, a better percentage move going into those altcoins rather than just Bitcoin.
Yeah, beautiful take there. I think I agree with you, but I mean, I'm a Bitcoin bull. I'm going to be a big Bitcoin bull for the foreseeable future. I mean, when you have these large entities kind of just hoarding this product, then I think just from a supply and demand constraint aspect, we have limited supply, right? So the demand of that is apparently through the roof. So we're going to see if we can continue in that northeast trajectory on Bitcoin. But guys, it's that time. It's 1 o'clock. We're going to document our 6th trade here, and it's looking pretty good. So as of right now, it's 102. We're going to be entering, you guys, what we know, we have a $1 stop loss with a $2 price target. So guys, we're going to be entering in at 603.01 perfectly with a target price of 605, quick math, and then 2 to 1 there, and then with a stop loss of 6 0.01, sorry, folks. And then we're going to document this. Let's see if we can get the ball rolling again as a collective unit. I have a lot of confidence in this one. I do think that we bounce. So I'm glad that we're documenting this stuff. This is what you kind of want to do. If you're not doing this at home, make sure you document your trades kind of in this type of aspect, and then you can build your own cumulative P&L and then go back and check that data as well too, guys. But you know, at 155, we are going to step out of this trade. So I'm looking forward to this one. I have a lot of confidence in it. But guys, the second poll is up. The afternoon rundown. Put your votes in the chat. Let me know what you guys are voting for. Satya may have the hottest pick of the session so far with Tesla because, and let's see, it's already a landslide. It's already a landslide with that one. So good pick there, Satya and Jameson. ETH, I was out talking to Satya about that not too long ago. So maybe we'll touch on that a little bit in a little bit. But first, we are going to go off to Adara. Yes, Adara.
What we're going to do here is take a look at crypto as we always do around 1 p.m. during the midday. Make sure that you took a chance here to vote for your ticker of choice in the poll as part of our audience engagement segment as always. I found this pretty fun graphic earlier today on X posted by Carbon Finance and basically shows Dogecoin's 60 billion market cap in context with a lot of other major companies. Dogecoin now has a higher market cap than Block, then GM, Snowflake, Monster, Lululemon, EA, DraftKings, Robinhood, Reddit, and Snapchat. So great milestone here for DOGE. There's actually a post here on our research Twitter account, TTV Research on X, if you have not followed it, showing all of the market caps of a lot of these major crypto-related names. So definitely check that out. I have the Dogecoin chart up here in the daily chart for fun with that in mind. Nice little bull flag on this. And we've generally had higher highs, higher lows, but we broke from that trend pretty viciously on Monday with this bearish engulfing candle taking about roughly 5 days worth of price action. So let's see if we're able to solidify, firm up a little bit here on Doge. I just want to take a look at Bitcoin because, of course, Bitcoin here, as I mentioned earlier, near a really key level of potential resistance that it needs to break through, and it's around that 101 halves. So we are, as of right now, above it. The next wick above there would be the wick we had yesterday, that 102.3s, and then if we can clear that, we can make new all-time highs potentially near that 104 area. I want to look at the weekly chart of Bitcoin as well because we tend to mostly look at the daily, the hourly, but the weekly is also great. We've had it looks like we've had only one red candle here since the election, and on the weekly chart, and even then that's pretty bullish. We have this bottoming tail candle here basing out just above that 91,000 level, and we continue to push to the upside. So pretty bullish look here for the weekly, nice rounded bottom, continuing to push to the upside. We'll have to see how these crypto names fare heading into the actual turning of administration here on January 20th, but lots to be excited about in the crypto space. I'll have to wait and see what new SEC chair, at least nominee, Paul Atkins does for the space, guys. Back to you.
Interesting stuff, as always. I was looking at the market capitalizations kind of the largest ones not too long ago, with gold being the highest with trillions and trillions. But climbing the ranks slowly is Bitcoin in the crypto space, sitting up there around that 7th spot, I believe 7 or 8. It's in the top 10 of largest market capitalizations in the States. So that's interesting. The space is without a doubt growing and continuing to grow. As I mentioned time and time again, with these new spot ETFs coming in, you get these record inflows. And sure enough, this gives investors that kind of a blanket of security to say, hey, we don't have to go on these brokers, not saying like FTX, but CoinSquare and Coinbase. But using these ETFs, it also gives us the ability to protect our downside by hedging with options, because IBIT now has the ability to be optionable, and I was looking forward to that, and I really, really like that, Satya. So
do you have like the underlying asset and then you just hedge it with options? That's what you do?
So what I do is, I have a little bit of the actual asset itself, so Bitcoin, but the majority of my holdings are in IBIT.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So now it gives me the ability. So as soon as the inauguration of IBIT, as soon as it came out, I just like funneled right to it. Yeah, I funneled right to it. I'm like, let me get involved in this. So I got involved in that, but now a couple months later, it is now optional. So that can give me the ability to hedge my positions just in case I see some foreseeable like down some downside.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, for sure.
So why hedge with options rather than, let's say, leverage trading and then going short on, let's say, Bitcoin or something?
So the thing about that's actually a fantastic question. So why options is because it gives you kind of a flexibility. So what you just mentioned is using a leverage product to leverage. So going short some say I think it's BitX, BITX, or IBITX, something along those lines. It's a leverage product, so the decay is vast. But with options, it gives you the ability to be flexible and create combination kind of styles of trades. Okay. So instead of me just buying outright shares, I can create kind of like a bull call spread, let's say in this instance, where it's a short-term bearish trade where I can go, okay, maybe a week or two, I'm looking for some short-term pullback. I can construct this trade and then create some passive income from that aspect. But that's actually a fantastic question, really. But yeah, that's why I would choose options over kind of using a leverage derivative.
Oh, okay, but I'm not even talking about like equities. Like you can use like perpetual futures to short like Bitcoin itself, like Bitcoin USDT, like that currency pair, rather than like have you done that?
No, I've never done that. This is new to me. No, totally. So that the reason why I got it, well, I didn't know at the time, but if the exchanges are going to put a product online that has a lot of inflows and extremely popular, the chances of it being optionable are extremely high. Okay, so that's why I was kind of anticipating that IBIT was going to be optionable in the future, so that way you can leverage kind of the up and down side as well too. So
okay, great. Yeah, no, there's always something that you could trade because me personally, I just used the perpetual futures. I find that like that is easiest for me. But yeah,
So you would just sell the futures for some potential downside.
Yeah.
Is what you're playing. Yeah,
exactly.
that's beautiful. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. See, you learn something new every day, I guess, and I didn't know that. So that's a great perspective, but that is why I decided that I would like to trade the ETFs, is for that flexibility in the options trading.
Fair enough.
Yeah, well, how's our Uber working out here?
Uber is looking pretty poor, to be honest. I was looking to take profits when it got up to around 61.25, but I'm just like, you know what? I'm in this for a reason. Let me, let it ride. But I think that I don't like the fact that it's broken below VWAP again. I wanted to really see it hold above that VWAP like it was doing here, but the fact that we just had this one green 5-minute candle and then sell off straight from there, and then we're kind of at this halfway mark, or a little bit more than halfway of 50% of this candle. I don't like the fact that it's kind of reverted that move. So I think I'm actually just going to punch out of this one. It may recover, but I do want to get in if it gets above 61.20. Yes, it's me, getting in above my initial entry price, but it just gives me more of the confirmation that I need. And then Kyle Burdett, he's back in the chat saying, nice to see Sharif let his hair grow. I know, right? It looks good. But
savage,
he's super savage. I'm telling Sharif when he comes back.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Uber trade's not looking too good right now. So I think I'm gonna punch out. How about you, Joe?
Yeah, I'm looking at this Uber too, Sate. I might have to punch out of this one shortly. But Kyle, thank you for the $2 super chat. Much appreciated, my friend. As always, glad to see you in the chat. And need I say less, Kyle? How was your day? Yeah, I already know how your day most likely went. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that, Kyle. I'm sure you're gonna inform us on how those puts are absolutely printing up a absolute money storm. But Satya, yeah, you're right. We're gonna have to pop out of this. This Uber trade here. Yeah, it's not working there. It didn't want to hold the volume weighted average price, so that's totally fine, guys. That happens from time to time. But someone in the chat asked me to talk about AMD. AMD is the winner on the afternoon rundown, so we are definitely going to talk about AMD after this show here with me and the boys over there to my right. But keep in mind, guys, we have our other poll up as well too. And let's take a look at the current standings. And it's an absolute landslide with Tesla with 48% of the votes there. All right, I like my steaks bloody, like my markets. I'm a medium rare guy. I don't mind a blue steak though once in a while, Kyle. So do you like blue or do you like medium rare? I'm more of a medium rare. How about you? Do you eat steak?
You're gonna laugh. Everyone's gonna laugh.
Don't
I
say
like mine well done.
No,
I am so sorry.
no, that's it.
That is, yeah, the crunchier the better. I am so sorry.
It can still be crispy on the outside and then nice and medium rare on the inside.
No, I can't do that.
Oh,
but
no.
That it is what it is.
Well, I sorry, one more time. Rinse the well done. No way. Yeah,
no love with that one.
No love. No love with the well done. And with ketchup. Bilbo bag holder, well done, and with ketchup.
Yes.
Way to ruin the steak, Bilbo bag holder.
No, I'm with him on that one.
Oh my days.
With the potatoes?
With the potatoes, that's after blue steak sounds like food poisoning, escape planet. Oh yeah, so guys, let us know in the chat whether you like either medium rare or well done, which we don't really like around here. I like it burnt, baby, super done. Oh my days,
Yes.
Forex, hey you. Forex, how are you gonna do me dirty like that, my friend? I thought you would have been on the same party as me. Hi, Joe. From the short-term trade, INTC, a better chance with the upcoming new CEO announcement. Yeah, let's see on INTC. I don't really talk about that stock too much because if you're not trending in the northeast direction, Satya, I essentially want nothing to do with you. And INTC has been doing exactly that. It's been trading ever since this earnings report, has the inability to fill this gap here, and just kind of hovering around this $20 mark, $20 to $25. INTC is not going to be getting any of my attention because there are so many other things, Satya, that we can be trading, like Amazon, that's been on an absolute tear, continuing to hover around those highs around $227. Then we have Apple also making all-time highs not too long ago as well too. We like Apple, so why am I looking at INTC? I'm a bull. I don't want to deal with INTC. I want to deal with these guys here. And then also we have not NVDA, that's a chip stock as well too. What else made all-time highs? The darling himself, Elon Musk. And Tesla pushing those all-time highs potentially. I don't know if we're going to make some more all-time highs today, but we're headed in that direction. Satya, what do you think?
I just have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So you said that you wanted to wait until like this gap fills. So what would you do from here? Would
For
you
INTC?
Yeah, for
I would
INTC.
look to play the gap fill. I wouldn't participate in INTC until the company starts to turn around. I want to start seeing some positive quarters and some more positive sentiment around this stock in order for me to kind of start getting involved from that aspect.
So you would rather it kind of go above that gap?
I would like to see it fill that gap with momentum and some strength, right? Like a news catalyst coming out, like INTC changes CEO, looking to restructure the company, something along those lines, and then maybe I would look to participate. And then you have those solid, like kind of those earnings announcements coming out with some solid quarters. Like we get maybe a less loss than expected and a little bit more revenue than expected, and then I would start to look at INTC. But
so the catalyst has to kind of follow suit,
yeah, absolutely.
not just the price action.
Exactly,
Okay,
absolutely. Like we want to get that fundamental support kind of behind it as well too. Yeah, absolutely.
That makes sense. So right now I'm looking at SoFi. I jumped out of it before, but I got back in because I saw that VWAP hold.
Oh, nice.
And so I got out around, I think it was around 1630. That was my initial entry. I see this hold the VWAP here, and this is my second time to shine, to get back in, to get in the real size that I wanted to, because even though I could have just held it from my entry price to this VWAP level, because a lot of the time I think of VWAP like a net, it should hold, but I just don't want to incur that downwards risk. And so once I see it that second time, I'm like, hey, this looks great, let me get back in, and with even more size than I did before. And so this looks decent as well, but I am still looking at this level here around 1623, 1624, because again, this was a previous rejection level in the morning around 936. And so this, even though it broke through here and it's getting up here again, I still want to see a very strong volume coming in there. And I'm going to look on the tape to see what's happening here. And so we're seeing a lot of red flushing on the tape, but we're not seeing the price action necessarily go down. Even though there's lots of red on the tape, it's not necessarily breaking that 1620 mark. And so I think that that's something to keep note of. So looking pretty decent as well. I don't want to see it break around the 1614. If it does break that, I would be a little bit worried. Maybe might take a piece off. But I think I'm going to let this ride because the second time's a charm for me. And so that is what I'm looking at. And then the R-vol is also kind of increasing as well. If we look on the R-vol here, it is ascending, upwards. It's not descending, it's ascending. And so I think that's something to take note of as well. How about you, Joe?
Yeah, someone in the chat, Jam Lossie, asked me about work sport. I don't have too much of an opinion on this, but one thing that you do want to keep in mind here, and I really like that, is I'm always going to correlate volume and price. So sure enough, if the fundamentals are going to support it, you're going to see it reflected in the price action. But guys, what I really like about this here, Worksport, is that volume is starting to increase. That volatility is starting to increase. You're getting those larger days. Putting in a potential bottom there with the low of about 35 cents, but now recovering and then putting it in an engulfing candle here, which I really like as well too. So let's see if this thing can start to recover on Worksport. All right, guys. So technically, slowly starting to recover. So let's see if the fundamentals can start to support that. Joe, Apple is curling. Yeah, sure. Let's take a look at AAPL, as Sharif would like to refer to as the dead one. Is very much alive. Not today, but it has been in the past. So let's break this down to a 5-minute time frame. My favorite. Yeah. And beautiful, guys. And our SPY trade is working out. We caught the lows on the SPY trade, guys. So congratulations to that. So I think we're going to be back on the positive side of things very shortly. So because, we do close that trade at 155 exactly. Kind of like an algorithmic trade, all right? So it's like if we had the ability to use PineScript or Python, I know the boys do here, but it's just a time-based trade, and we're going to log it, say, as systematic as we can. So we're going to continue to monitor that. But Apple, it is starting to slowly curl over. A nice potential bottoming signal here with a doji at a low. It's not quite isolated, and you don't have that volume signature supporting it, but it is slowly starting to curl back over. So if these mega caps start to recover, I think the market can definitely start to recover with it as well, too, guys. Bitcoin is recovering now, pulling back, rejecting that high, well, not past the high a day, but rejecting 5810s on IBIT. Let's pull up the actual encrypted one, the underlying asset itself, and see what's going on. We do have some really key resistance levels. Robbie V pointed this out in the chat. So good point out there, Rob, about that 102 resistance level. We had these marked out before, so I'm expecting a little bit more momentum to step in order for us to break these levels. We need a lot of conviction, Rob, and I agree with you on that front, in order to break these levels. But I think when we do, I think 110, 115 are those next potential price targets. Even north of that, 120, 130 would be ideal. I will have no issues with Bitcoin hitting $130,000. Tatea, how about you?
For sure. I'm looking at NVIDIA, and I'm also looking at SoFi. NVIDIA, I typically don't like to get in below VWAP, especially for the long. But I'm seeing a little bit of life here. I'm seeing a little bit of a curl action. And if I'm looking at the SPY here, it's kind of doing the same type of action. Let me just pull it up here. And so it looks pretty similar. So if we look here, we have this bottom. This was around 1109. Let me look on the 15-minute or the 30-minute. So I think this is a little bit more distinct here. It's just really struggling to break below this level around 132.56. And then with the SPY as well, if we go here on the 15-minute or even the 30-minute, we can also see it's just one big candle here. And I do want to see, when does the next candle form? It's going to form in the next 9 minutes. So I'm going to see at 1:30 where that candle closes, and if it can close at least above this 603.50 mark, then I'm looking for the long there. So that looks pretty decent as well. But I think for NVIDIA, I think I might take a stab at it just because the risk level isn't too crazy here. I'm thinking that I may want to catch a little bit of a dip buy around 133.50 and then just risk to these lows here, 132.62. Because if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But if I'm right, at least I'm going to take profits around that VWAP level. And if it does want to continue this downward trend, then I think it may reject from that VWAP level. How about you, John?
Yeah, for sure. I want to take a look actually at Costco. Unfortunately, we didn't. I think Derek can fact check me on this. We didn't hear anything about a split. Neil was talking about this as well too. I think a lot of investors, we do know that we have about $7 trillion on this side in cash. I'm not saying it's all going to go into Costco, but in the money markets. So there's a lot of money on the sidelines. So I want to know if Costco is going to split because a lot of people want to participate in this stock, Sate. I really like Costco, and Sean and I were talking about it yesterday, and he brought up a really good point. There's not very many grocery stores that you have to pay a membership in order to get into, so they will always have that consistent revenue stream, which is really like, and that's why I like Costco. So I think it's like Walmart and Costco are America's darlings almost.
Yeah.
So, do you shop at Costco?
I don't have a Costco.
No, I don't have a Costco
no.
card either. So if you did have a Costco card, would you choose Walmart or Costco, even though I'm saying if you had a Costco card? Which one do you think you'd like?
Honestly, I feel like you get more bang for your buck with Costco. Everyone that I know that has a Costco card, they get everything by the boatload, and they're like, hey, I'm stocked up for the next 3 months, right? And they're like, I paid $30. And it's just like, damn, for like 2 to 3 pounds of steak, like goddamn. Yeah.
For me, Costco was a little overwhelming. It's like, okay, I like Fruitopia, but I don't need 8 cartons of Fruitopia. You know what I mean? I don't need that. So
I feel like it's more beneficial if you have a family.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's aiming towards, right? If you have that larger family, then you definitely want to take. I like Costco gas. Okay, I'm one person, but okay, yeah, I get it. Yeah, I don't. So hold on, no, Ram, you wait in line for the Costco gas. There's no line, okay, because I know those lines can get absolutely hectic with the Costco gas. At that point, you go at closing, okay, so you got it figured out. She's beat the system. She beat the system itself. She goes to a Costco where no one else really goes to, and then waits until everybody's about to go to sleep, and then and then heads in to the Costco to get her gas. So that's absolutely perfect. What do you think about extending wedge on AVGO? Right down an alleyway. Let's pull up some AVGO on that front and see what's going on. Satya, what do you think? Are we going to call this an ascending wedge on AVGO, or do we think maybe? I mean, I see where you're getting at here. Absolutely, I like this. So as you can see, we got those higher lows forming with that flat top here, with that form of resistance. What do you think from an ascending wedge, Satya? Do you think that Broadcom still has enough juice left in the tank in order for it to break this 218 level?
218. I mean, I don't know. Like, it looks. I feel like because it's holding this VWAP level, there is a possibility that it can break this level. And I think that we do want to see that steam happening right at that level, around 218.50. I do want to see like a strong candle, like a 3-minute or a 5-minute candle breaking above. I do want to see it at least get to 218.80s within one candle. I feel like that's the volume that I want to see. If I'm seeing kind of one 3-minute candle or three 3-minute candles kind of trekking into it, I won't really like that. I do want to see a little bit more volume to give me more confirmation, just because it is still in this kind of range between 213.12 and then around this high 221, let's call it 60s. But what I do think is very distinct is the fact that I'm looking at this pre-market level around 216.60, and so I think that that is a level that we need to keep into account as well, because this may just be a little bit of a pullback before the actual move happens. But I think that volume is just an issue. I don't necessarily think it's the price action. I do think that it's going forward. Like, if we look at the trend is bullish. And we had earnings, yesterday after the bell. But I think that today specifically, I think that it's a little bit lacking there. And so I don't think we'll necessarily get it today. But who knows? Who knows what will happen at Power Hour? I think that 3 p.m. is definitely where we'd want to see that if it doesn't happen yet within the next hour and a half.
I totally agree with you on that front, and I like how you kind of pointed out the volume standpoint from a breakout. We need that volume to step in order for us to continue to push higher. So if you're looking for that big breakout trade and you're like, why aren't we breaking out? Well, take a look at the volume by time profile, all right? And just see what volume is telling you. Is that tape starting to pick up in speed? Is that volume stepping in? Are you getting those aggressive sellers smashing the ask? So let's see what goes on with that. But again, you need that volume to step in. And yes, Tony, next Wednesday is the FOMC meeting. I'm pretty sure, Adara, you could probably fact check me on that as well too, but I am pretty sure it is at 2 p.m. next Wednesday with our guy, Jerome Powell, speaking at 2:30 as well too, guys. So Nike earnings, Seth, Nike earnings next week. Is this a dip buy? It's so tough. And we talk a little bit about kind of this retail space with Nike and just the competition in this athleisure, it's so vast and it's getting tougher. I know me personally, I wear like Gymshark. It's so easy. They deliver quick, and it's relatively cheap, kind of where Nike's swayed into that luxury athleisure brand and then open up all those storefronts, not using Foot Locker and Champs kind of as their gateway to the consumers, now kind of going on their own way on that front. So again, Nike, I don't love Nike. I'm going to be frank with you. I'm going to avoid this from a speculative standpoint. You need this this company to start putting up some quality quarters first before you look to get involved. Anything can happen, but you want to see that consecutive, like maybe a quarter or two where they start beating, the inventory start stepping down as well too. So keep that in mind with Nike. Again, there's just so many other ways to reach the consumer via social media and other aspects as well too, as the internet too. So guys, keep that in mind. I think it's going to be a tough ride for Nike moving forward. Just because I mentioned there's so many different like off brands now. Like you have Aloe, you're familiar with Aloe, and Gymshark and all those kind of like athleisure brands. So I think that's why Nike might be in a little bit of trouble. What do you think, Satya?
That's fair. There is like so many other brands that are a lot cheaper, have the same type of quality. And I feel like once people started to realize that like you can buy from warehouses that Nike and stuff buy from, I feel like that's kind of been a cheat code that people have been using, because at this point, Nike's not really leading with quality. It's kind of just a stapled name that, you know, they do have first advantage moving, but I just feel like there's just so many other companies that can take that crown with the same type of quality.
Absolutely, and as I mentioned before, they started opening up the storefronts and everything. But then again, you go to Nike and it's an established brand. It's kind of that name that everybody liked a while ago. But then you look at the price tags of some of their sweaters and their sweatpants, and it's like, for Nike, like this was nothing what it used to be paid back in the day. So again, yeah, they kind of dropped the ball on that one a little bit. But someone in the chat asked me, Joe, can you have a look at Amazon? It looks like it wants to go green. For sure, let's take a look at Amazon Web Services. Okay. Yeah, so guys, it is starting to curl around a little bit. It has breached VWAP. Oh, wow. Our SPY trade is absolutely buzzing. So congratulations to us so far. We got 25 minutes before we document this trade. So let's see if we can hold this, because this might be a record day as a collective unit. So let's see if we can continue in that northeast trajectory. But back to Amazon, folks. Let's see what's going on with this. Yeah, again, the breach of 227, 228. Holding really strong. I like that. Oh, I'm getting everybody fired up about the Jordans and everything going on in that. But yeah, guys, let's see what happens with Amazon. This is a nice move, but don't forget it's Friday. The volume does tend to dwindle off a little bit in that afternoon session. So don't expect any, as Sharif would like to say, extreme buyer exuberance stepping in and leading this to a higher day. But I do think we can slowly start to recover, as the market has shown it is right now. Let's really see how the SPY and the Qs test around VWAP. Satya, what do you got going on?
Awesome. So I was looking at NVIDIA, and so I think that I might post an order here. I want to see a break of this 134.67, and I think that I would want to get involved here just because I'm seeing this trail of the 9 EMA. I like the fact that it made these distinct bottoms here, and so I think that reasonably I can get in there. So I think I'm going to weasel my way in on that one there. And then also, too, I did get back in at SoFi. I did pop get out just because it got to 1622, and I'm like, I don't know. But just because I was seeing this rejection here at 1624, which was the previous rejection from the morning. But once I saw it break above it again, I'm like, you know what? This is the time, big size, and we're going up to the upside. It's not in the money yet. I did get in at 1629, so we are 1 penny out of the money. But I do think that that second touch above 1624 is what I wanted to see, and I think that I'm just gonna let that one ride there. And then as for NVIDIA, I'm gonna get in here. So I'm gonna put in that order at 134.67, or let's do 60s and then give it a 7 penny spread. So that is what I'm gonna do here. And then hopefully we do get filled on that one because it does look like it's looking to reverse here. So that looks pretty decent as well. And I'm just going to take it to VWAP. I don't necessarily think that it will break VWAP with a vengeance.
Hi, Dara.
Oh, there she is.
There she is.
But I don't think that it's really going to have a lot of volume to really break through. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I think that it's just a little bit of a scalp trade there. And then if it does hold above VWAP, then I'll just load up more. And even though I'm getting in at a higher price, at least I do have confirmation that VWAP potentially does hold this up. So that looks pretty decent as well. How about you, Joe?
Yeah, that looks fantastic. I'm talking with top VIOP in the chat. All I can say is this. Hey, thanks for the love, my friend. Yeah, I appreciate that so much. Those words go a long way without a doubt on that front. And Electric Passions, congratulations on those SPY puts. I'm glad you had a stellar day on that front as well, too. Keep smashing it. My good buddy, Forex AU, you're a little quiet in the chat today. Are you still in the chat, Forex AU? Let me know. And then we're going to come back and talk some more stock with Adara and I right after we get back from Adara. Or Satea and I. Did I say Adara?
Weekly chart. We had a beautiful little doji candle last week, a little bit of a topping tail candle. And it's interestingly enough, this support kind of forming off of previous resistance around mid to late June 2024. So certainly keep an eye on that level for the DXY. Right now, though, nice push up this week. Right now, poised to close the week on 107, but there's still some clear resistance around that 107.5 level going back to mid to late November 2024. So this big move down here on that Thanksgiving week is certainly still an area we have yet to eclipse. That was a bearish engulfing candle taking about a week and a half's worth of upside action. So this is certainly a level to be aware of. Now, we had a lot of economic data this week to go over ahead of that FOMC meeting. As Joe mentioned, we're going to get comments from Fed Chair Jerome Powell himself at 2:30 p.m. on December 18th. Half an hour before that, at 2 p.m. Eastern, we'll be getting the FOMC rate decision. It is highly expected we're going to be getting a cut of about 25 basis points. So we're going to have to wait and see if that's actually what we get. But that has been the expectation. And as we talked about earlier, the bets are ramping up that is actually going to be the case. Now, to go over some of that inflation number, we did get exactly in line CPI here. So 2.7% increase here on a year-over-year basis. 0.3% increase on a month-over-month basis. The core numbers were also in line, so CPI was exactly in line, but PPI told a slightly different story. So PPI actually increased by 0.4% for the month of November as we got those numbers yesterday at 8:30 a.m. That was higher than the expected increase of 0.2%, so PPI a little bit harder than expected, though core PPI actually was exactly in line with forecast, increasing by 0.2%. And I think it's really important we watch the core numbers. We know we had comments from Fed member, FOMC member, Michelle Bowman last week. Michelle Bowman, if you do not recall, was actually the lone holdout with regards to that 50 basis point rate cut. So Michelle Bowman said that core inflation, if that gets uncomfortably high, that could be a cause for concern. So that, I would say, is certainly something to be aware of, that high core inflation. But the fact that core PPI was in line with estimates, maybe not a bad look here. We're going to have to, of course, wait and see what these Fed members give us going back, I guess, about a week from now. Let us know in the chat what you think is going to happen. Do you think we'll get that 25 basis point cut as expected? Do you think we're going to hold, or do you think we'll get a larger than expected cut? Because we do still have about 3 days. No major data that could probably change this. We have PMI on Monday, retail sales on Tuesday. But either way, anything can change. So let us know what expectations you're looking for. In the meantime, we would like to thank eSignal for sponsoring this portion of the show. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to an elite trading experience. Analyze, strategize, and capitalize. Receive profitable opportunities with a platform that meets your needs. Infinite data leads to instant trading, so you can know where the market's moving before others because you'll have access to lightning fast data as well as charts that change the game. Customize and analyze markets faster in your way with better backtesting and scanning. That can help you predict the future by understanding the past. You'll also have reliable real-time data, up to the second market info from hundreds of global markets and everything you need all in one place. Don't miss a beat. Execute your best trades now. Are you ready to elevate your trading? Scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Back to you.
There, Satea, what do you got going on trade-wise? Are you still in SoFi? How's that working out?
Yeah, it's fighting, but I'm I'm feeling confident about it. Because just the fact that we are above this 1625, which was that previous resistance level in the morning, I feel like it's holding up there. And so if it rejected off of that level and then broke down, which is where I got out, then I would be a little bit worried. But the fact that we are trending above that, with these two 5-minute candles, I'm really convicted in this. So that looks really decent as well. So I'm going to let that ride. I think I'm going to take a piece off a little bit before the highs, around 1633, and then let the rest ride as it breaks possibly above the 1635. So that looks pretty decent as well. I was eyeing this AVGO because I did think that it does look like it is a range trade, but I'm still kind of enticed about it. It's not giving me the volume that I want to see, but a lot of the time it does that consolidation before the true breakout. So I think I'm going to keep my eye out on that. I'm not necessarily going to post an order, but I think I'm going to do an alert at 218.52 and then see what we do from there, because I am enticed with this level. Before, when we were talking about it, I was just like, I don't know, but I think it's brewing for something. I feel like the pot is getting hot, and so I feel like it's
stirring it up.
Yeah, right. So I think it's waiting for that breakout, but let's see what it does from there. Not necessarily jumping in too early, prematurely, but I do have my eye out on that one. And then NVIDIA, I'm waiting to get filled here, 134.60 to 67s. This looks really decent as well. If we look here on the 30-minute, this is really distinct for me. I feel like it's kind of forming, or at least trying to form, the right side of the V. What stands out to me, and what you mentioned this morning about the volume, it looks exhausted here, and then it is kind of dwindling in terms of volume, but I feel like this red candle, and then this red candle, and then this volume candle, I feel like it is getting exhausted, and then we just have this bottom here on the 30-minute, 132.60 as well as 132.90, and we're trekking up to VWAP as well as the 9 EMA, and so I think that is looking pretty decent as well. Not necessarily in my playbook too long below VWAP, but when I see opportunities like that, I'm like, I have to take it, and so that looks really decent as well. How about you, Joe?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that, and I'm telling you, go back, and that's where I started. So I read this book, and then I just kind of went back in history, and I just looked at specific days where you would see that correlation between the volume and price, and you're like, it happens so often. So I eventually, I was like, hey, how do I take advantage of that? So I started trading those, and they're really good. They work out really nice. I think it's one of my favorite. So those are really my two primary plays, is kind of that VPA signal play, and then the VWAP strategy is my benefit in the opening drive.
No,
so,
because I was watching the show and I've noticed that like all of your trades look so similar, and I'm like, how are you getting it down like the same every time?
It's a time, it's the reps systematically. So I try to keep everything the same, and kind of like how we're doing with our SPY trade, Satya, it's just so fundamentally the same. It's like, okay, you're in at this time, you're out at that time, and I'm not saying like necessarily do that with trading, but I try to keep my execution kind of in that realm as well too.
So like, you have like a time stop, is what you're saying?
Not a time stop, and I'm saying not from a time space, but in the mornings I like to trade the opening drive. So if I see my like A1 setup, your class A setup, it's usually within that hour time frame, and it's very identical to the same setup coming over and over again, same price action pattern. So that's what I just keep an eye out for, and then I try to take advantage of when they're kind of formulating and coming into play. So yeah, that's just what I try to do, is try to say the same thing, rinse and repeat over and over again, and I think that can help with trading as well too, because it helped me absolutely, is just sticking fundamentally to just a handful of things instead of kind of switching up your strategy multiple times a day or a month, or say, hey, 1 week this doesn't work, it's garbage, it's no good. Well, it happens. Sometimes you go on bad streaks, right? Sometimes 100%. Markets aren't breaking up or anything along those lines. So for me, it's like, okay, just stick to it, and that's when it goes back to your lesson of the day. When things aren't A1, you kind of decrease that size a little bit, and then when things start to work is when you start boom, 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 you start pouncing again and taking advantage of those. So yeah, for sure.
So when you're looking for that setup, how do you identify the tickers that are best for your setup?
Yeah, I love this question as well too. So that's fantastic. So in the morning on the train in, what I do is I run the exact same scanner every day as well too.
Okay.
So I just run a basic high volume scanner. I want to see over a million shares traded in the session. with the potential catalyst. If there's a catalyst, then that's fantastic.
Right.
But also a stock that's over, say, like $15 to $20. Those are the simple criterion that I use to identify my stocks. And then you can say you grab a basket of stocks, say like 5 or 6, and then you break it down, and then you say, hey, what are out of these 5 or 6 stocks? What are the best ones that have my potential set up? So you break that down to 1 or 2. Neil showing love, and then you break that down to about like 2 or 3 stocks on the session. Yeah.
No, that's great.
Yeah. So it's like a machine, right? You're working as an algo yourself. You get in that routine and you kind of just like rinse and repeat every day, looking for the same thing. How about yourself? What is your criteria, and what are you looking for in stocks in order for your, say, A1 to A2 setups showing up?
For sure, yeah. A lot of the time, I'll look for news catalysts. I feel like my best plays have been earnings. So I usually look for those as well. But a lot of the time, I'm doing morning drive trades from 9:30 to 10:30, or maybe as far as 11. 11 typically is my cutoff time. But usually I'm looking for the same setup. A lot of the time, I'm just looking for the break of the pre-market high or the break of the pre-market low, and I usually just get in huge size there. Like NVIDIA is something that I find typically has the volume that I'm looking for, so that is something that's always on watch in the background there. But typically, I'm just looking, if we just get rid of this, and we look on the 1 minute, because typically that's what I'm looking at when I'm getting involved in the trade, because I'm usually getting in around like 9:32, 9:33. And so I'm literally just waiting for the break of this level here and waiting for this scalp, and then anything that gets to VWAP. But if we just go on to something random, let's just say AVGO, for example. If we go back here. So with this one as well, I'm just looking for the break of the high of the pre-market, and so I'm just looking here. And so this didn't necessarily come in until around 9:40, but I'm just looking for those levels, and I find that depending on the break of the high or the low, it will a lot of the time stay within that trend. And it's not a very long trade. I'm not staying in for hours on end. I'm staying in for maybe like 10, 20 minutes max. But typically I find that that's just the bulk of my trades, and then I'm usually done for the day during that time. I find that when I start trading around 11:30, that's when I start to give back a lot of the profits. My trade is morning drive. I'm just really good at that. I've just honed in on that one thing, and I'm just looking at that setup on different tickers that have volume. So
yeah, I agree. So is that where you kind of run a high volume scan in the morning?
I actually don't use a scanner. I just use trending tickers, earnings usually, and if I don't see anything on earnings or the trending ticker list or any type of news catalyst, then I usually just won't trade. But I will look at those scanners. I find, I don't know, the scanners that I'm using, it doesn't fall into the criteria of the price that I want, around like $50 and above. Usually I find the scanners that I'm looking at least on YouTube, they're like a couple of cents or a couple of dollars. What type of scanner do you use?
Yeah. So on my platform, I use a DAS at home. So it's just a basic scanner. It's literally, as I mentioned before, you just type in like a minimum volume and then a maximum volume. So I would go minimum volume, 1 million shares, and then if anything over 100 million, it doesn't matter, right? So minimum share volume is 1 million, and then price target anything above $20 usually.
And what is it called?
Dash Trader Pro.
Dash Trader Pro?
Yeah. But we like P Pro 8.
Okay.
We like P Pro 8. But no, it's just a scanner and platform as well too. So yeah, it's basic. It's the most simplistic one. I know you can get into scanners where like you get the gap up and the gap down, etc. Like as Sharif likes to run his gapper scanner as well too. So he has lower criteria. He has a little bit more criteria. He likes to see a percentage gap up with stocks under say X amount, like $1 or something along those lines. A little more finite, a little more descriptive than my basic, just anything over 1 million shares and anything over $20. So
I feel like one thing I forgot about too is that I usually use Market Chameleon for the pre-market movers. I feel like that has led me for most of my trades. So usually I'll just use that. So if we go here, marketchameleon.com.
Yeah.
and then we just go to stocks, pre-market trading.
Beautiful.
Because I'm doing morning drive trades, I do want to see what's moving in the pre-market, right? That's kind of the preface that I'm looking for, and so I'll just scan through there, and my criteria is just anything over $50, and that's usually what I'm looking at. And a lot of the time, or I'll also look at something that I was looking at before was something that I was developing before was ex-dividend calendar trades. And so I usually do that. I'll look at the ex-dividend date or the pay date, and I'll also look at that for potential plays as well. So like today, for example, if we just look at the ex-dividend day, we have Walmart, and that was part of the reason why I was looking at Walmart again today. And so it didn't necessarily do a lot, intraday, but it was kind of more of a slow burn there, but I could have taken it off of VWAP in these instances, but that's just something that I look at.
Nice. Sorry, Satya, but this is AVGO is breaking out. Yeah, so we're getting that breakout, and sure enough, once we zoom in a little bit here, we're going to see that volume stepping in as well too, Satya. So we were talking about breakout, and we needed that volume to step in. So relative to about half the session here, that volume is starting to kick in on that 5-minute time frame. We had this resistance level marked out before. We have now broke it on volume. So this is exactly what you want to see. Someone said ascending wedge. I said I don't know, but it seems you are right. That volume is stepping in. So good look on that front. Tesla is also starting to recover. I want to participate in some TSLA, Satya, so I'm going to touch a little bit here, see if we can get the high day break. We're going to be a little bit late to the dance on this one, but let's see if we can participate, get that high day break, and continue on that all-time high push. But as of right now, AVGO breaking out on some volume. We really like this, guys. And this is why I love the chat, is because they're shouting out things that we only have 2 sets of eyes here.
Absolutely.
We can only watch so much at one time.
Absolutely.
But then we have thousands of people watching, so that's double the amount of eyes on a bunch of things. So that's
why I felt like something was brewing. I was just like, I don't know, let's leave it to the side, but it was brewing.
And it was brewing, and sure enough, it's brewed. We got a whole black, an Americano coming up here on Broadcom there. So a really large coffee, nice breakout here on AVGO, folks. If anybody's in that, let me know in the chat. That's fantastic. We're super late for Tesla Dance. Exactly, Milred. We are really late to the dance on that one. Are we fashionably late, though? I don't know. We'll see. But guys, wow, our SPY trade is absolutely killing it. I'm extremely excited about that one. Let's see if we can continue on this all-time high push with Tesla. And then now we have Broadcom, folks, stepping in on volume. As you can see, it's stepping up here drastically on this 5-minute time frame. So let's go prepare the hot dogs and the buns. Tesla, we are blasting. I don't have the hot dog cannon. Katina Man's not here. I don't have it. I don't have the Dollar Club, even though we're partying. We've been partying on IBIT. Hit the hot dog cannon if you can for us, Neil. No, we don't got that. Hit the hot dog cannon. It's another face slapper. He doesn't. Obi might not be tying into the thing. That's okay. Paco OR, I know this is your favorite one. Paco, you're always asking for the money storm, and I love it. Don't think that goes unnoticed. I love that one. But guys, absolutely, to steal it from Katina Man, what a face slapper here on Broadcom and on Tesla. Fire off the hot dog cannon, even though none of us are in it. So, Taylor, what do you got going on? I have to take a breath there. That was actually.
That was insane. No, I'm happy that you're happy getting it.
Yeah.
Are you in that AVG?
No, I'm not in it. I'm in nothing.
Oh,
it's
man.
Buzzing. Yeah, I'm buzzing. Yeah, we're buzzing. I'm curious of what you're doing after this. What are you doing after the show, after the session today?
What do you think?
Bro, that's exactly what are you doing?
I'm doing what you're doing.
All right, that's it. All I need to hear. Bang!
Let's go.
That's it. That's all I need to hear from the boys. We got Jose in the back as well, too. Brankles is hanging around. He promised some things. Don't think that goes forgotten, Brankles. So we'll be chilling out with the boys after Satya. What are you cooking up?
No, for sure. My SoFi trade is not going as intended, to be honest. I should have just got in that AVGO trade just because I was like, something's brewing, but I just didn't want to get faked out, and I ended up choosing the loser, so that sucks there. I think I'm gonna hop out of the SoFi trade. Today is just not my day, but you know what? I'm happy for you guys in that AVGO trade. Shout out to you guys for bringing it to our attention. That is going crazy here. I was thinking about weaseling my way in, but I think at this point, it's just me getting FOMO, and that really isn't part of my trade. I should have got in where I put my alert, and we don't actually have like an alert chiming, so I didn't actually see it when it crossed, but that was a crazy trade. So shout out to you guys for that one. What else here? SoFi, I was looking at NVIDIA too. I think I canceled my order with that one just because I wasn't seeing the volume that I wanted to see here. And so it is trekking to the upside, but just I should have just gotten AVGO. That was a bad look there. But someone is saying Palantir and Apple. Let's take a look at that. Palantir. This Palantir is looking really good as well. Excuse me. I like the fact that it broke out of this downwards trend here, which I usually really like, and it just held that VWAP really cleanly. And so I'm looking for the break around the 74.47 mark. Hopefully we can get there. I really like the fact that it hit this 9 EMA, kind of went below it, but then we are trekking to the upside. If I look here on the 30-minute, this looks really strong as well. I like the fact that it broke above this level, 74.31. And I think reasonably that we can get up to the 74.90. That is a profit target that I would be looking at in terms of that. And then you also mentioned Apple, so we are going to get into that as well. Let's see here. Apple, let me look on the 3-minute here. Okay, I do like this. I like the fact that it's at that VWAP level. I do want to see it hold. Just that rounded bottom is very distinct.
Whoa,
like,
whoa,
look at that crazy.
yeah, Obi would
wild.
love that one there. That is insane on Apple.
No, right? So I think that looks pretty decent as well. I'm going to do small size with this one because it is part of my play here.
Look at that candle right in the middle of it too. Wow, that indecision. Yeah, that's insane.
It's insane. And so I'm thinking small size, but I'm thinking 24,780. I'm looking for the break of that for the potential long. How about you, Joe?
Yeah. So guys, we're gonna send it off. SPY rejecting VWAP there, guys, pretty heavily, but we're gonna send it off to Adara.
Keep an eye here on Broadcom. It's worth noting here, the volume spike on the 15-minute and the 30 was not as significant. So we're within the same kind of volume here on AVGO as we try to break those days highs. The 30-minute, same kind of idea. There's no really significant volume spike. So just be aware that in the smaller picture, we might have had a volume increase. In the larger picture, we're seeing the same kind of volume in Broadcom. So I just wanted to give a little bit of context in the longer term or larger term on that volume increase and relatively not as significant as it might seem, guys. Back to you.
Back to us. Yeah, I know. I said someone in the chat said we might be a little late to that dance on mentioned fashionably late. Okay, so that we showed up just on time. So that one's working out for us on TSLA, folks. Creating all-time highs on Tesla, trading around $432.53 right now on the session. So continue to move higher. Elon and crew, SpaceX and the Neuralink team moving higher. The cyber one, as Adara likes to call it. But yeah. I mean, let's continue to trade higher. I like Tesla moving higher. That's beneficial to us. Bitcoin is trading around that 101,000 and change mark. Let's see if we can break that 102 with some conviction. We need that volume to step in, just like Broadcom, Satea, because in order for Bitcoin to continue higher, we need that volume to step in, just like this Broadcom breakout. So let's see if that happens in the near future, if the next session is going to get that ball rolling for us. But again, that break on Broadcom, that's a nice break. What do you think of it? That's really nice. What do you think?
We missed out on that move.
Did you post there?
No, this is Apple that I'm weaseling my way into.
Okay.
Honestly, I should have. I don't know. I just felt like it wasn't part of my playbook. It does look like a great trade, and I still think it's a great trade. So I don't know. I think that was just a bad look on my part, to be honest. I feel like because I missed it. Yeah, we did, because we were eyeing it. We were talking about it like 30 minutes before, and so I don't know if it's just the fact that I missed the move, and I was just like, you know what, forget it. But this is looking,
on to the next.
Yeah, right, right. And so I'm sad about that. But my Apple trade is printing right now, and so I think that I'm gonna hop out of this trade because I made what I need.
Let's
so
go.
I'm gonna hop out of that one there.
Money storm on that one. Nice trade there, Satya, on Apple. Quality scalp there. Yeah, guys, continue to let us know what you are looking at. Let's see what NVDA and Jensen are up to here. Yeah, yeah, like, you know what I mean? This is an on to the next one for me too, Satya. We got other things that are trending, like Broadcom and Tesla still continuing to crawl higher, making new all-time highs with every minute that we are speaking here. So that is really nice. I was not expecting this from Tesla. So we're up about 3% on the session, I believe, with Tesla. Let's take a look. Yeah, about 3.7% on the session, continuing to trade higher. Are we going to go hit that 350, 435 mark? I think that is totally in reach. There's no doubt about that. Bitcoin slowly pulling in as well too, breaking my heart, gutted about that. I want to see this break and then go for that 130 price target, because I know Tom Lee and a lot of analysts have that high mid six figure. Even some have before the next halving cycle by the end of 26 today, $250,000 per Bitcoin. So I'm really looking forward if that is going to be the case, because we are going to no doubt about that be participating in that absolute monster run if it does decide that it wants to continue on that type of path. Now, IWM, Sharif's World, the small cap, the iShares, Sharif's World, but we're pulling in here. I mean, so guys, we had that nice, excuse me, we had that nice candle up here, that inverted hammer, that shooting star, whatever you would like to call it. And then since we broke that low of that day, we have to now continue to the downside with some potential gaps that we can be filling on the way as well too. So keep a lookout for that on IWM. And I mean, if Jerome and company decide that they want to cut tomorrow, that can be another bullish signal for small caps as well too, because it is a little sensitive to those rate hikes and cuts. So keep excuse me, a lookout for that, folks. What do you got going on, Satya?
Awesome. So I'm looking at this Palantir, and this looks really interesting as well. A level that I was looking at before was 74.32, and it broke above that level. So that looks really great as well. And then Apple, I think I may hop back in this trade. I did just do a little bit of a scalp here, but I do think that it's holding pretty decently above this VWAP level. So that looks really good as well. And so I think that I'm going to hop back in there. And so let's see here, Apple. Let's get in again at 24.80. Don't go without me, please, please, please. Okay, we're gonna hop back in. I got in at 24.82. You know, paid 2 cents over what I wanted to, but I want to make sure that I do get that fill, because I do think that this is going to blast off, and I don't want it to blast off without me. So I'm going to stick with that. What else are you guys looking at? Let's see here before we end off. Well, we only have one more minute to go.
Time flew. I didn't even realize that at all. Sorry to interrupt you there, Satya, but Bear vs. Bulls reminded me in the chat, don't forget to log this trade, because this is our best one yet, folks. We are out at 604.11. Congratulations to us. That's over a dollar move on our trade. So we're going to lock in that W. Fantastic stuff. Leave them with some final words.
Yes. Apple's looking great. Palantir's looking great. And yeah, that's what I'm looking at. So we're going to bring it over to the big kahunas over there. And see you guys later.
See you again. See you guys on Monday. Have a good weekend, everybody.
You guys just missed an opportunity to see Ramin fixing my mic, because I'm not competent enough to get this mic right on the lapel, or whatever the heck you call it. It's pretty cool. Like, it has a little magnet underneath it. So
I like them. You like the clips or the magnet? I love the magnet.
Oh, the magnet's so much more convenient.
Yes.
But I thought I had it fine. She's like, it looks terrible, Neil. Let me fix it for you. I'm like, okay.
Oh boy.
Tesla is a rocket ship, and it is absolutely rocketing